A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
How far is it from here, McLeod?
Oh, about another half mile to the road where we turn off.
All right. Boys.
Yes, sir.
When we get there, I want you to stay in the car until everything is over.
Oh, gee, do we have to, Mr. Wallace?
Well, I realize, of course, that you're anxious to see your friend Harold, but I can't allow you to endanger yourselves, just in case we run into some fireworks.
Fireworks?
I mean a little gunplay, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
Is that other car right behind us, Linwell?
Huh? Oh, yes, Mr. Wallace. It's about 100 feet from us.
All right. Now, let me see. It's about 8:45. The other car will be just about arriving at the Hazlitt farmhouse.
What other car is that, Mr. Wallace?
Well, the boys and Mr. McLeod told us that Corporal Dent figured out that the cabin we're heading for is really an old outbuilding on the back part of the Hazlitt farm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you're sending another bunch of government men to sneak up on the cabin from the other direction. Is that it, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, Lee, that's right. We'll cut them off from making any escape from any direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'll check up on them right now.
Check up on him? How are you going to do that, Mr. Wallace?
Well, our cars are equipped with two-way radio, Jerry.
Oh, gee, that's swell, isn't it, Lee?
I'll say it is.
Calling Knox in car 5. Knox in car 5. Come in.
Okay, this is Knox.
Where are you now, Knox?
About 150 yards from the front gate of the Hazlitt farm.
All right. When you get up into the yard by the farmhouse, stand by the car until I give you the word to go.
Okay.
Golly, isn't that keen?
You better take it a little easy along here, Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah, and turn off your lights now.
Yes, sir.
That's the road right up there, Mr. Wallace.
And we turn left, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, take it slower than you are, Taylor. We want to be sure the other men are at the cabin when we make the catch.
All right.
Here's where we stop, Mr. Wallace.
Yes? All right, Taylor, pull up.
Yes, sir.
Linwell, I think it's best that you stay here in the car with the boys.
Oh, but, Mr. Wallace.
I realize fully, Linwell, that you too are anxious to see your boy. But with the game leg of yours right now, it'll be too difficult for you to move quickly.
Well,
I'm sure it's best.
well, all right. But be sure to let me get to him just as soon as you can, won't you?
You bet we will. Come on, Bradley. Joe, Mary.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right with you.
Where did you leave Corporal Dent, Mac?
Right there in the clump of bushes, about 50 feet up the road.
Very well. I'll call Knox and tell him to start over toward the cabin. Knox in car 5.
Yes, sir.
We're on the side road, about 150 yards from the cabin, I'd judge.
Yes, sir.
What time have you got?
Exactly 8:52 and 30 seconds.
Right. We'll make the catch at exactly 9:05, okay?
Okay, we'll be there.
All right. We're starting up the road right this minute.
See you later.
Come on.
All right.
Now, keep it quiet from here on.
Oh, that must be Dent. Here we are, Corporal. We'll be right with you.
Did you bring the government men? Oh, yeah, I see him now.
Mr. Wallace, this is Corporal Dent. He's been standing watch here for us.
Glad to meet you.
How do you do?
What's been going on, Corporal?
Oh, not a thing, no, sir. They ain't so much as moved a toe out in that door since that man went in about a half hour back.
Good. All right, you want to join us, Corporal Dent?
Join you? Say, you couldn't keep me out in this skirmish with 6 transports.
That's fine. Come along, then. Easy now, men.
Listen. Yes. An airplane. Look, he's heading this way. You can see red and green lights. Huh, that's funny.
What do you mean, funny?
Well, that there's the first plane I've ever seen over this part of the country this time of night.
It is, huh? Well,
Wallace, down quick.
yeah. Somebody coming out of that cabin.
Yeah. He's got a flashlight.
Say, he's signaling to the plane up there.
You mean that blinking on and off is signals to that fella in the airplane?
Yeah, it looks very much like it. Yeah. Now the pilot's flashing his landing lights on and off, too. Say, that's Morse code. W. H. E. R. L. N. D. Where land? He wants to know where to land.
That fella don't spell so good, does he?
He's just abbreviating.
Look, that man there is running over to the pasture.
You're right, Mac. That's where he's going to tell the pilot to land. Yep, that's it. See, he's signaling. 4 dots, it's H. 1 dot, E. Dot. 2 dots, R. Here.
Now the fella in that airplane signaling back. What's he saying, Mr. Wallace?
O. K. Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I guess we're going to have another visit.
Going to wait for him, Wallace?
You bet we're going to wait for him.
And what if he doesn't land before 9:05? The other boys will be ready for the catch.
Well, we'll just have to take that chance. But it looks as though he is going to land. Yep, here he comes. He's got his landing lights on again.
Yep, he's leaving them on, too. Say, he'll never make it in that stubble over in that field there.
I don't think he will either. He's coming in too fast. No matter what he does, everybody keep quiet.
Look! He's nosed over. Oh, gosh. That airship's on fire.
Wait, quiet, everybody. Let's see what they do.
They're coming out. They're all running out of the cabin.
I wonder if they'll be able to save the man.
Yes, they're pulling him out. Let me see what time it is. I don't know whether I can see my watch or not. Yes, the phosphorus shows up all right. It's just 4 minutes after 9. 1 minute more. That's right.
Forward! Stop shouting like that! Bring Cookson in here, quickly! Cookson, you fool! You fool!
Mr. Wallace.
Yes, Mac?
That was the man who was in my store when the boys discovered he had a fountain pen.
Yes, I understand. In other words, that's Yorga.
Aye, that's the name Yorga.
Well, it's the 0R, boys. Ready? Okay, come on. Now, wait. Quiet. Up these steps.
What do you want?
Oh, so you're Alexander Yorga, are you? Stand up. All right. Frisk every one of those men there.
Where's the lad? Where's Harold? Is Harold in here?
Mac!
Oh, Harold!
Oh, Mac, where's my dad? Where's my dad?
Oh, no, there, Harold. You manna weep like that. You're a man, my lad. You winna hear your father see you with tingles in your ear.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mac, but please, is my dad here?
He's here, Harold. Come with me. I'll take you to him. Mr. Wallace.
Just a minute, Mac. All right. Stand all those men up against that far wall. That's right. Well, Mac. Oh. Well, is this Harold?
This is Harold Linwell, Mr. Wallace. Harold, this is Mr. Wallace, the government man who directed all the goings-on which brought us here to rescue you.
Hello, young man.
Oh, Hello, Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Wallace, will it be all right with you and your men if I take Harold down the road a piece to his favor?
You bet it'll be all right. Just a minute, though. I want Harold to identify a couple of men here. All right, let's have it quiet. Quiet! Harold, which one of these men here took you out of your father's cottage tonight?
That one. That one there.
All right, you. Step out. What's your name?
Kajina. Armin Kajina.
All right. Now, Harold, which one of these men drove the car that brought you here?
That's the man. There.
Oh, Mr. Yorga himself, huh? Harold, you don't know how honored you were.
You and your men are extremely clever, Mr. Wallace.
You know my name already, do you?
Of course. It is my policy to know the name of everyone with whom I am doing business. May I congratulate you, Mr. Wallace? I do not know how you discovered us so quickly. A few moments more and we would have been out of your reach. Momentarily, at least.
I don't think you would have been very far out of our reach, Yorga.
And why not?
Well, in the first place, your plane caught on fire as your stupid pilot landed in that field of stubble. And in the second place, one of Harold's friends, Lee Phillips, a cadet from Fair Oaks Military Academy, removed the distributor head from your automobile about half an hour ago. You'd have had a pretty tough time trying to drive that car. And I'm afraid you wouldn't have gotten very far walking.
I see. At least, Mr. Wallace, we did no harm to the boy.
Did they, Harold? Did any of these men hurt you?
No, they didn't hurt me. They just scared me.
Well, that's quite fortunate for them. All right, Mac. Take Harold down to his father. You'll be pretty glad to see him, won't you, son?
You bet I will.
Okay, see you later, my boy. All right, Mac. Bradley, take them back into town.
Yes, sir.
Now, men.
Come with me, Harold. Oh, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Where's Corporal Dent?
Here I am, you crazy old coot. What's been keeping you?
Harold, this is Corporal Dent. You haven't met him?
No, I haven't. How do you do, sir?
Oh, hello, Harold. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get this boy down to see his father.
All right, come on. Your father's been muckle worried about you, my lad.
Gee, has he?
McLeod, of all the crazy nincompoops I've ever met, you're the worst.
What are you talking about, Dent?
Harold!
Harold!
Is that you?
Dad!
Harold!
Oh, Dad!
You're all right.
Son. Come here, boy.
Oh, Dad.
What do you say to getting us all back into town, Mr. Bradley?
Sure. The car's waiting right here. Come on.
Mac, Corporal Dent, Jerry and Lee.
Yes, sir?
You don't know how much I want to say. Well, you know what's in my heart. I don't really need to say it, do I?
No, there's not to say, Mr. Linwell, except... Well, old McLeod does have something to say.
McLeod?
Your mouth looks better closed, Corporal Dent.
What were you going to say, Mac?
Before I was so rudely interrupted, I was going to express the opinion that it would be a hearty thought to stop off at McLeod's ice cream parlor for a double chocolate nut sundae.
All right. It's free.
story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman is knifed to death in her home. The body bears the mark of inhuman attack. The killer escapes. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 29th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romano. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the interrogation room. It was 11:23 p.m. when they got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, Joe.
Like type this up for me? The dead body report.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Joe?
How you doing?
They bring Palmer in yet?
He's in the interrogation room. Captain's with him.
What's his story?
He claims he had nothing to do with it. You contact any of the boys' relatives?
Says he hasn't got any in town. It was just him and his mother.
You called Juvenile Hall, didn't you?
Yeah, they'll look after him for the time being. Pretty big shock for a kid.
Yeah. Did you get anything out of him?
Harry and I have been talking to him. It's just starting to make sense. You want to lend a hand?
Sure.
We're going to the beach tomorrow, my mother and I. She had the day off and we were going to the beach. That's all I know. That's all she knows.
Harry?
Hi. You want to give it a try?
Yeah. All right, Robert. Come on, son. It's going to be all right now. We need your help, Robert. Think you could answer a few questions for us?
How about a bite to eat, son? Can I get you something?
No, I'm not hungry. I'm okay.
That's the stuff. Well, here, take it. It's a clean handkerchief.
Yeah. Well, you're the cop that drove me down here, aren't you?
That's right.
Not going back to the house.
You won't have to, son.
I'm never going back to that place.
All right.
Oh, it was awful.
Could you start from the beginning for us, Bob, and just take it easy? Tell us what you know.
Okay. Think I could have a Coke?
I'll pick up a couple. Be right back. Right here.
Thanks, Harry.
Well, all I know is I left the house about 7:30. Mom gave me the money to go to a show.
Was she alone in the house when you left?
Yeah, that's right. We had dinner and then I went to the show.
You usually go to the show on school nights, son?
No, but Mom asked me if I wanted to go. She gave me the money. Double feature. She told me to stay for both pictures.
Mm-hmm. She usually tell you that?
No, she always said to just stay for one picture. She didn't want me coming home so late.
Was she expecting anybody to visit her? I mean, after you'd gone?
She didn't say so. She just told me to stay for both pictures, that's all.
What time did the movie let out?
Almost 11 o'clock. Pretty late, so I went straight home. Mom was in the bedroom. She was on the floor. There was this knife, this big knife.
What'd you do then, son?
I ran outside, hollered. Wallace's came over from next door. I went inside and looked, then they called the cops.
That knife you saw in the bedroom.
There was blood on it, all over it. It was terrible.
Did you ever see the knife before?
Yeah. Yeah, Roy gave it to my mom last year. It's a bowler knife.
Who is this Roy?
Mom's boyfriend. One of them. He's in the Navy.
Was he at your house tonight?
I told you, it was just Mom and I.
Roy had a fight with Mama about 2 weeks ago. He said he didn't like her having other boyfriends, and they had a fight.
They argued, is that what you mean?
Yeah. And once Roy slapped my mother.
You want one of these, Joe?
No, thanks, Harry.
Oh, there. There's your Coke, Riley.
Oh, yeah.
Son, did you know most of your mother's friends?
Most of them, yeah.
Can you think of any of them who might have wanted to hurt your mother?
I don't know. Roy Palmer, maybe. He was mad at her. He's the only one I can think of. I don't know. I don't want to think about it anymore.
All right, son. We won't bother you anymore tonight. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Ben.
Mm-hmm.
You want to follow through with Juvenile Hall, see if the boy's taken care of.
Okay. You going to be in the interrogation room?
Yeah, I got a few more questions for Roy Palmer.
Right. Check you later.
Okay.
Crime lab back yet, Friday?
No, not yet, Captain. Just talked with the Reynolds boy.
Yeah?
Can't believe anything that kid tells you. He's a liar. He hates me.
You give him reason to hate you, Palmer?
The kid's a liar, that's all.
You were his mother's boyfriend. He says 2 weeks ago you had a fight with her. Did you slap her?
All right, I slapped her. That don't make it murder. I wasn't near that house last night, and I didn't kill her.
We found your knife in her bag.
Huh?
A bolo knife, bone handle.
It's not mine. I gave it to her a year ago for a present. Didn't even know she still had it. Look, why do you have to pick on me?
Because you had a motive and you haven't got an alibi.
What about all those bums you used to run around with? Why don't you ask them for alibis?
When we find them, we'll ask them.
Do you know any of them, Palmer? The other men that she went out with?
How'd I know? The only time she ran around was when I was on sea duty.
And how'd you know she was running around?
Friends of mine. I saw her out with these guys.
I get it. Interrogation room, Friday.
Lee Jones, Joe. Just got back from the Dixon house.
Anything?
Off to fast start. Leighton Prince checked the murder weapon, that knife. Dusted the handle.
Yeah?
Fingerprints, perfect set.
Captain Steed and I took the suspect, Roy Palmer, down the hall and had his fingerprints taken. At the same time, across the street in the crime lab, a set of fingerprints were lifted from the weapon which had taken the life of Mrs. Betty Dixon. The 2 sets of prints were checked and rechecked. They didn't match. Every object in the murder house was gone over for fingerprints and further evidence. Roy Palmer's fingerprints were on none of them. He was released pending further investigation. The only suspect in one of the most savage murders in the history of the city was free. The next morning, Captain Steed and I met with Chief Detective Thad Brown.
How about the dead woman's son? You talk to him again?
Well, Romero's with him now. He's taking down a list of all the people that his mother knew, friends, neighbors, everybody.
No luck yet with a set of fingerprints?
No, we've got no record on him. Checking them through Washington, we ought to get a kickback pretty soon.
Set of prints and a piece of envelope. That's physical evidence, huh?
Yeah. One of the top corners off an envelope. It had a postmark on it, Sonoma.
Sonoma. Tie in with anything yet?
No, not so far. Might turn up when we start checking the victim's friends.
They posted the body this morning. I guess you saw this coroner's report.
Yeah, I did.
I don't have to tell you, you're not after an ordinary killer.
23 knife wounds.
Revenge motive, maybe.
Yeah. The reaction of the dead woman's neighbors, that's what's got me stopped.
No one heard a thing?
Mitchell and Didion are still covering the neighborhood. Haven't found anyone yet who saw or heard anything unusual.
Well, I can't buy it. A woman isn't just cut down like that without some kind of a commotion. Besides, the homes in that neighborhood are fairly close together.
Shouldn't take much to make yourself heard from one house to the other.
No sign of robbery or burglary?
No, according to the boy, the house is intact. Nobody touched anything.
It leaves you with the boyfriend angle. Lover's quarrel.
We're stuck with it, yeah.
Hi, Chief.
Romano? Go ahead.
How'd you make out?
Better than I thought. Boy was over most of his shop this morning.
Did he talk?
5 pages of names and addresses. He gave me all of them.
Well, how about that boyfriend angle?
Oh, about half a dozen names. Seems the mother had quite a social life since the boy's father died.
You confirmed the boy's story about going to the movies?
Yeah, it checks out.
Pretty nice kid, considering the environment he's been raised in.
Well, how about those names, Ben? Any of them list Sonoma as their hometown?
No, I don't think so. Let me check here. Okay. No. Huh? No, none of them.
All right, you better start digging into that list. Postmark may tie in later. Meantime, you still have that set of fingerprints.
No chance for a mistake there. When you reach the right man, those prints will connect him with the killing.
That makes it simple for you. Prince will tell us who he is. You got only one answer to dig for.
Yeah.
Where he is.
Thursday, September 30th, 11 a.m. We started checking the list of the murdered woman's friends through R&I for any possible criminal record. It's usually the case that a major crime rates headline space twice. When the crime is committed, when the criminal is apprehended.
Between the two, more than often, there's a space of weeks and months, sometimes even years, in which the police officer goes through the monotonous, undramatic business of checking files, asking questions, sifting and sorting leads and evidence until he finally reaches the criminal. For a news story, it's pretty dull material, but it proves out the contention of most working detectives. You don't catch criminals with headlines. Monday, October 4th. We checked with a Miss Lucille Dana, a counter clerk at a little market out on Crenshaw.
Terrible thing. I've been away on my vacation. Heard about it when I got home yesterday.
You were pretty good friends with Betty Dixon. That right, Miss Dana?
Yeah, pretty close. Oh, excuse me a minute. I'll take care of this customer.
Yeah, all right.
Is there anything, sir?
No, 2 bags of them jelly beans, please.
All right.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, that's 19, 87, 9, 87. This is not marked. Just a minute. Tommy?
Yeah?
Number 2 corned beef. How much?
Just a minute. 67.
Thanks. $2.17 out of 5. $2.17, $2.20, $25, $50, $3, $4, $5.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just can't get over it, Sergeant. Poor Betty.
We understand that you used to go out with the Dixon woman, Miss Dana. Do you know most of her close friends?
Well, most of her men friends. We used to double date a lot together.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you'd take a look at this list of names that we have here.
All right. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
Now, does that about cover all her boyfriends, all that you knew of anyway?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Tony Morse, Galbraith, Al O'Neill. You don't have Floyd down here.
Who was that, Floyd? Who?
I never did know what his last name was. He used to take both of us out, Betty and I. Seemed to like her quite a bit.
When's the last time she was out with him, do you know?
Oh, 5 or 6 months ago at least. Kind of strange.
How do you mean?
Floyd. Jealous, you know. Hot temper. Said he was Spanish, but he had a light complexion. Oh, excuse me, please.
Sure.
Yes, sir?
A pack of that mint gum and some lighter flints, please.
Yes, sir. 25. Thank you.
All right.
Could you describe this Floyd for us, Miss Dana?
Well, he was kind of fresh and conceited in some ways. He was attractive. A lot of fun.
How about his physical appearance, weight and height?
About 6 feet, I'd say. Nice build. 180 pounds, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Dark hair, dark brown eyes. Good dancer.
How'd he and Miss Dixon get along?
Oh, I don't think he did. Floyd and Betty used to fight all the time, but she used to fight with Roy Palmer, too. I don't think Floyd did.
Is he in town now, do you know?
No, I don't. As I say, last time I saw him was 6 months ago.
Would you know if Mrs. Dixon saw him recently?
She did. She didn't tell me.
You have no idea, then, where we could get in touch with this Floyd?
Well, no, I don't. He's from up north originally.
Is that so?
Yeah, Sonoma.
Ben and I went back to the office and got off a teletype to the Sonoma Police Department along with a description of the suspect named Floyd. Then we checked with the 16-year-old son of the murdered woman. He remembered the man called Floyd, and essentially his description of the suspect checked out with that given us by his mother's friend, Lucille Dana. 3 p.m. We met with Lieutenant Harry Didion and Captain Steed.
You want to fill him in, Didion?
Finally got in touch with the dead woman's next-door neighbor. His name's Conroy. Get anything out of him? They seem to be the only ones who heard anything the night of the murder.
What they had to say?
Let's see. Yeah, they saw Mrs. Dixon's son, Robert, leave the house about 7:30 the night of the murder. And nothing till 8:30.
Yeah?
They heard loud pounding on the back door of the Dixon home. The door finally opened. They heard an angry woman's voice invite the person in.
A man?
Yeah.
Any description?
Not much. He was tall, good build.
Not much, Jack.
Go on.
Neighbors said it was quiet then for about an hour. And they heard a woman crying. Said it sounded like Mrs. Dixon.
They make out any of the conversation?
I got it right here. About 9:30, they heard Mrs. Dixon, a lot of loud talking. She said, Why don't you kill me then, Floyd? Put me out of my misery.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
They said it was quiet between 9:30 and 10. And they heard something that sounded like the thud of a body falling on the floor, a piece of furniture overturned.
No screams for help.
Funny, but the neighbors say no. The only other thing they heard was Mrs. Dixon. Here's a quote. She said, "Do a good job, finish me off."
None of the neighbors thought of calling the police.
Well, they told me they didn't want to get mixed up in a family fight. None of their business. She had quite a few men visitors.
That's all of it, huh?
No, one more thing. I guess this is what made the neighbors think everything was all right. About 10:15, they heard a man's voice, couldn't make out any words. Then they heard Mrs. Dixon say, "Please kiss me goodbye."
Mm-hmm.
A few minutes after that, they heard someone leave for the back door.
They see him?
Not very good. I think it was the same man they saw go in. Pretty tall, good build. That's it.
Where does it leave us?
Pretty weird.
I'll buy that.
Oh, I don't know.
She was supposed to be a sane woman. She'd have to be pretty drunk to ask a man to kill her.
The man would have to be pretty drunk to take her up on it.
Why the killer used that bolo knife on the victim? That piece of envelope we found by the body.
Yeah, it was postmarked Sonoma. There's a state mental hospital up there.
Just a hunch.
Maybe we're dealing with a maniac. 4 p.m., Monday. R&I could give us nothing because of the meager description. Ben and I checked out of the office and went over to the state building to the Department of State Institutions. First, we checked the name Floyd through the files, using it as a last name, then as a first name. We failed to connect. Either the names didn't fit the description of the suspect, or they were elderly men still confined to the institution at Sonoma. We checked through the files using Floyd as a middle name. We came up with 2 recent parolees from Sonoma. Both matched the description almost perfectly. Both had the middle name of Floyd. We checked out the first one, Charles Floyd Johansson. We found out that he'd been returned to Sonoma almost a month before. The second parolee still had his freedom. We took a set of his fingerprints back to the office and had them checked out with a set of prints found on the murder weapon.
How's it shape up, George? Richard Floyd Coleman. That the right name?
Yeah. Any make?
He's your killer.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of skating star Helen Davidson of the 1951 Ice Capades. This is her actual signed statement.
Recently, on tour with the Ice Capades, I've noticed more and more people smoking Fatima. You know why? If you like king-size cigarettes, you're bound to prefer the one that's extra mild. I know I do. And I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
More and more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, October 4th, 7 p.m. We got on an APB and a radiogram on Richard Floyd Coleman. We checked DMV for possible auto ownership. From his record, we found that he had been confined twice to the state mental hospital at Sonoma. The first time for a period of 2 years, the second time for 14 months. Hospital files showed us that on both occasions he had been committed by his older sister, Evelyn Coleman, his only living relative. Her address was listed as 5640 Upper Terrace, an apartment court in the East Wilshire district. We drove out to question her. In one of her apartment windows was a hand-lettered sign, seamstress, dresses made to order, Evelyn Marie Coleman. She turned out to be a tall, quiet girl in her 30s, gray eyes, brown hair. She worked on the sewing machine while we talked with her.
I'm sorry to be so rude, Sergeant, but I have to have this blouse ready by 2 this afternoon. Miss Tyler's coming to call for it.
That's perfectly all right, Miss Coleman.
Exactly. What was it that you wanted to know?
It's about your brother, Richard.
Oh, anything wrong?
No, we're just checking, that's all. We'd like to talk to him.
Oh, what about?
Routine check. We understand he spent some time up at Sonoma.
Yes, he did. Richard's had a hard time of it. Doctors don't seem to know the trouble. Poor Richard, he's so mixed up.
You're his only living relative?
Yes, I am. Folks died when we were both young. Practically raised Richard myself.
Have you seen your brother lately, Miss Coleman?
No, not lately. Why?
You any idea where we might contact him?
Well, no, I don't. You see, he travels around the state a good deal.
Oh, is he working?
No. Well, but he writes from time to time. Oh, what was it you wanted to see him about, Sergeant?
With just routine questioning. We like to talk to him.
Oh.
Where was he when you last heard from him, Miss Coleman?
Well, couldn't you tell me what you want to see him about?
We'd just like to question him, that's all.
Well, what about? You can tell me.
Is your brother in the city now?
Oh, I don't know. I just got back. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. Almost 3 weeks.
Does he usually stay here when he's in town?
Well, sometimes, yes. Is Floyd in some kind of trouble?
Is that the name he usually goes by, Floyd?
Well, most of his friends call him Floyd. Why?
You think he might be staying with one of his friends here in the city?
He might be. I don't know. Look, Sergeant, if Floyd's in trouble, you can tell me. I've seen him through lots of trouble before.
Not this kind, miss.
Women? Oh. I wish there was something I could do.
Where was he when you last heard from him?
He was in Santa Barbara. He wrote me. Please, Sergeant, why do you have to see Floyd? Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Hello? Oh, yes, Miss Tyler. Uh-huh. Well, maybe just a few minutes late. Would 2:30 be all right? Oh, fine, thank you. All right, Miss Tyler, bye. I'll have to hurry. Mrs. Tyler's blouse.
Sure, you go right ahead.
I really don't make much of a dressmaker, but I'm saving up. I'm going to buy a place in the valley farther out. Be fine for Floyd and me. Be awfully good for him. Floyd has to get away from excitement. He's awfully nervous.
Sorry, Miss Coleman.
Sergeant?
Are those your brother's suitcases in the alcove back there?
Yes, they are. They've been there for a month. I keep his odds and ends for him.
You sure he hasn't been here in the past month?
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Please, Sergeant, why don't you tell me the truth? I've been through this before. This trouble with Floyd. What is it this time?
It's pretty bad.
Well, what is it?
We want to ask him about a murder.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do that. You sure it was Floyd?
We'd like to talk to him.
Floyd. It didn't have to happen. I was going to buy a place in the valley. Floyd would have liked it there. I was going to take care of him out in the valley.
Do you have any idea where we could find him, Miss Coleman?
No, I don't. I don't know where he is. Santa Barbara, that's the last I heard. I've been worried about him.
If he was in the city, would he come here to stay, ma'am?
Well, he did before, yes, but I don't know about now.
Does he have a car?
No, not that I know of. No, I don't know what he's living on. He doesn't have any money. Who was the woman?
Mrs. Dixon. Seems to know your brother pretty well.
Oh, boy.
You better grab that, Ben.
Yeah, all right. Hello. Yes. That's all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Tyler, she'll pick up her blouse tomorrow.
Ben and I left Evelyn Coleman's place and went back to the office. A stakeout was placed on her apartment. 2 days went by. Nothing happened. Despite the fact the suspect's sister had promised to cooperate fully with us in locating her brother, a team of men was assigned to follow her wherever she went as insurance against any possible slip-up. As far as we were concerned, no precaution was out of reason. A maniac was on the loose in the city, the same maniac who had murdered the Dixon woman. He'd done it once, and if the urge was there, he'd do it again. We sweated out the next 3 days. On the afternoon of the 6th day, we got an urgent call from one of the parole officers in the State Institutions Department, a Miss Gertrude Vaughn. Ben and I went over and checked with her.
Call came in about 20 minutes ago, Sergeant. Man's voice.
What do you have to say?
He wanted to talk to me about the Betty Dixon case. Seemed nervous.
You say he knew anything about it?
I didn't want to frighten him off asking too many questions. I got the idea he had something he wanted to get off his mind.
Well, did he mention anything specific? I mean, names, places, anything like that?
No, but I got the impression he knew quite a bit about the case.
What else?
He promised he'd be here by 4 o'clock. Said he'd be ready to talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's 2:45 now. All right, Ben.
Okay.
Pull up a chair. We waited. 3:15, 3:30, 3:45. No sign of the anonymous caller. 4 p.m. Still no sign. We waited. At 4:30, the office door opened and a tall, thin girl with brown hair came in and walked straight toward the desk of Parole Officer Gertrude Vaughn. We saw Miss Vaughn motion the girl across the room toward us. It was Evelyn Coleman.
Sergeant.
Miss Coleman?
How are you?
I know where Floyd is. I'll take you to him.
4:35 p.m. Ben and I left the State Building with Evelyn Coleman, got in our car, and drove north across the city, according to her directions, until we got on Highway 66. We continued driving north out of the city. Evelyn Coleman sat quiet in the back seat, looking at her hands folded in her lap. Except for directions, she said nothing. Approximately 3 miles out of the city, she directed us off onto a county highway. We drove east for a few miles, then we turned north onto an unpaved road lined with eucalyptus trees. We'd gone a little less than a mile when she directed us to pull up.
We can walk the rest of the way.
Okay.
It's not far.
All right.
This way.
Your brother been out here all this time?
He didn't tell me. He called this morning. He's supposed to give himself up.
What happened?
I don't know. He's worse now, I think. I could hardly understand him on the phone. Doesn't make sense.
Is he alone now?
He was when I left him. We go across this field here.
Okay.
Yeah. Is your brother armed?
No.
That it over there?
Yeah. Shack by the tree. You'll see he's treated right.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see to it.
Evelyn? Evie?
I brought them in, Floyd. They'll take you back.
I'm Richard Floyd Coleman. I want to tell you I killed Betty Dixon.
All right, Ben.
I wanted to marry her. She didn't want it. She dared me to kill her. I grabbed a knife.
We can talk about it later, huh?
She was lying on the floor. She said, "Kiss me goodbye." I held on to her. She seemed to go to sleep.
We have to go, Floyd.
You tell him, Evie, I loved her. You tell him that.
Yeah, I will.
She dared me to kill her. She said I didn't have the nerve. She asked me to.
Yeah, all right. Come on.
Try to tell him that at the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To prove a suspect's guilt or innocence, as in tonight's case, the working detective spends many a long hour with the man in question. In the interrogation room, the crime lab, with his friends, his enemies. Gets to know his man well. And so with a cigarette. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, get to know Fatima. Live with it a while. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Get to know the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Richard Floyd Coleman was examined by 6 psychiatrists appointed by the court and was found to be criminally insane. He was committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino for an indefinite period of time. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper, next on NBC.
States Treasury Department presents Guest Star with Harry Sosnick and the Defense Bonds Orchestra, yours truly, John Conte, and starring Jack Webb. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is John Conte, your host for Guest Star, a transcribed feature for Defense Bonds, presented by this station as a public service. Your maturing Series E defense bonds can go right on earning interest for you for as much as 10 years longer. If you don't need the cash right now, hold those bonds at interest and keep on buying more defense bonds through the payroll savings plan where you work or the bond-a-month plan where you bank. In a moment, we'll introduce Jack Webb. First, Harry Sosnick and the Defense Bonds Orchestra present Harry's own arrangement of the stirring Lady of Spain. Thank you, Harry. And now our guest, the popular young dramatic star of radio, motion pictures, and television, Jack Webb. He appears in an original guest star sketch entitled By Mere Coincidence. We take you now to Hollywood and Jack Webb.
My name's Christopher Adams. I'm 33 years of age, 5 feet 11, 172 pounds, black hair. I'm a salesman with Durham Industrial Supply. 2 days ago, I came to Washington, D.C. to wrap up some last-minute business before beginning a much-needed 2-week vacation. On the run from Washington, D.C. back to New York, that's where the whole incident began. The incident that almost cost me my freedom. A couple of minutes out of Washington, I thought I could feel somebody standing next to the empty seat beside me. It was a fat man, expensively dressed. Before he sat down, he tossed his briefcase up next to mine on the bag rack. I settled my head back against the seat and started thinking about that 2-week vacation. Well, the train bell woke me up. We'd stopped. We were in Pennsylvania Station. The seat next to me was empty. The fat man was gone. I yanked my briefcase down from the bag rack and headed up the ramp to the cab stand. It was 11:30 when the cab dropped me off in front of my apartment building. I let myself into my room, flipped the light switch, tossed my briefcase on the bed, and that's when I saw him. The gold initials on the case. The initials J.G. The fat man had picked up my briefcase, and I'd picked up his. Well, in mine, there was nothing of real value, but what about the fat man? What did it contain? It might hold something very important. I had to get in touch with him immediately. I tried the lock on the case, and it snapped open. I took out the contents. First, a sheaf of papers that contained some kind of odd drawing, sketches of some kind. And then my hand closed around the steel barrel of a gun. Well, the drawings looked like floor plans. A photograph that slipped out of the drawings told me what plans. Just a minute.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, I'm...
Inside, please.
What's going on here?
Comrade Gregor, he's here.
Yes. Yes, good.
Now, look, I don't know what this is
Close
all
the door, Maxie.
Yes, Comrade Gregor. I see you have examined the contents of my briefcase, Mr. Adams.
Well, I was only trying to find out who the case belonged to.
Please, Mr. Adams. How well did you examine the contents? You know them well enough to go to the police?
Hey, now look here. I don't know what you're talking about. All I did was...
Of course not. You're stupid. So stupid. You Americans make many heroics when the so-called chips are down.
No, let me.
Not here, Maxim. It is time. Put the papers back in the briefcase.
Yes.
What are you trying to do here?
Who? In a good time, you shall know, Mr. Adams. In a good time. Ready, Maxim?
Yes, Comrade Gregor.
Good. Now, Mr. Adams, you will come along with manners, for I promise you a short ride. Shall we go?
Well, the fat man Gregor and his accomplice herded me out of the apartment, down into their car. At the curb, they put a blindfold over my eyes and told me to keep quiet. 2 minutes later, I'd lost all sense of direction. 15 minutes later, the car came to a stop. I was roughly guided up some squeaky wooden steps and ushered into a warm room.
Take the blindfold off, Maxim.
Yes, Comrade.
There. That is better, is it not, Mr. Adams? So, how do you like your new home for the next few days?
It's just fine. Now, look, what's this all about?
See, you are not stupid after all, Mr. Adams.
Well, I surveyed the room. There was a lone lamp on the table. A table that stood between Gregor and myself. Maxime was moving toward me. In his hand, he held a gun. Well, I thought it was now or never, so I made a pass at the table.
The lights! Get him, Maxim! Yes, Comrade!
I hit Gregor from behind. I heard him hit the floor. And then I caught the outline of Maxime against the window. I dived for him. I yanked his arms around behind his back and forced him around in front of me.
He's here, Comrade Gregor! He's here!
Maxime! Maxime! Where are you?
He's dead, Gregor.
Where are you? Speak again.
I got your partner's gun, Gregor.
Speak again, fool.
Oh, no. You're the fool, Gregor. When are you guys going to wise up? You're not going to rule the world. Doesn't your comrade know that? There are too many free men who love freedom.
Free men are simple fools who only know the simple things. Your speed bores me.
No, it doesn't bore you, Gregor. It hurts you. Destroy the free. That's your 5-year plan. Well, let me tell you something. For every free man you destroy, there'll be 2 more to take his place.
You're nothing but a hot-headed salesman trying to impress me with your schoolboy heroics.
You know, Gregor, I was just thinking. If I die here, I really got a lot more to lose than you.
Wait, Mr. Adams, there is no need for these heroics.
Nobody's trying to be a hero.
Let us have a party.
Yeah, sure. You guys are famous for your parleys, aren't you?
Wait, look. I throw down my gun. You heard it? You did the same.
Yeah.
Good. Now open the door so we have some luck.
Sure.
You fit this?
You didn't think I trusted you, did you, comrade?
I'm dying.
No, you'll live. I'm not that good a shot. Now, you're going to live. Wait till the boy hear that, huh?
No. No.
Yeah, Comrade Gregor. You're going to live. Well, I'm on my vacation. I'm enjoying the so-called simpler things in life. The beach, the sun, the cool drinks, and the pretty girls. Yeah, the simple things, enjoyed only by free men.
That was a fine performance, Jack Webb, as always.
Well, thank you, Ted. Of course, the same for you. And I enjoyed doing it, and it's especially nice to be appearing on a defense bond program again.
You picked a good time for your return appearance, Jack, because now you know defense bonds are a better investment than ever.
Yeah, I know that, Ted. I've always been a strong believer in defense bonds because they're a safe and sure investment. And with the new features, well, they're now even better. But the most important thing to me is the fact that bonds provide a perfect way to save, not only for your own future security, but for your country's defense as well.
Right. Defense bonds are now even better. Now defense bonds pay more interest and have a shorter maturity period. Two, we can all play a part in our country's defense effort by signing up for the payroll savings plan or the bond-a-month plan. Those 2 automatic plans that make saving easy and systematic.
Yes, these automatic plans make it possible to save before we spend, and that's important. So, friends, may I suggest that you sign up today for your country's defense and your own future security by enrolling in the payroll savings plan to buy defense bonds. There's no better investment in the world.
Thank you, Jack Webb. And now Harry Sosnick leads the Defense Bonds Orchestra in a musical finale, Johnny Green's unforgettable Body and Soul. You have been listening to Guest Star, a transcribed feature for Defense Bonds, presented by this station each week as a public service. Our thanks to Jack Webb for a fine performance, and to his supporting players, Ted DeCorsia and Fritz Feld, and his director, Louis Graff. Next week, we'll have another favorite star and more good music by Harry Sosnick and the Defense Bonds Orchestra. So we hope you'll be with us. In the meantime, this is John Conte saying so long, and reminding you that regular savings today means security tomorrow. Invest in defense bonds where you work or bank.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A large hospital in your city is held up. $10,000 in high-grade narcotics is stolen. The bandits escape. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 23rd. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Ben Romano. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 7:16 a.m. when we got to St. Christopher's Hospital, the pharmacy. How you do?
Yes?
Police officer, sister. We'd like to see Sister Mary Benedict.
I'm she.
Mother Superior sent us down to see you, sister. We're investigating the narcotics robbery.
Oh, yes, there have been quite a few policemen here in the past hour. I believe it was the fingerprint men who just left. Just a minute, I have their card. Yes, they were from Layton Fingerprint Division.
Stahl and the boys from Layton Prince.
Yes, that's right. Sergeant Harlan Stahl.
Well, sister, we're the investigating officers assigned to the case. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Are you a lieutenant?
No, I'm a sergeant. I wonder if you could start right from the beginning for us. Just tell us what you know about the robbery.
Well, after Mass, I went to breakfast, and then I came downstairs here to the pharmacy to open up.
You keep the pharmacy locked overnight?
Oh, yes, always. We always assign an intern on night duty. He has the key in case any medicines are needed during the night. He's authorized to issue what may be needed upon the doctor's request.
Who else has a key to the pharmacy, sister?
Well, there are just 3 keys. Mother Superior keeps one in her desk, and we have one for the intern on duty, and I have one.
All right. You want to go on?
When I got down here this morning, I started to unlock the door and found it ajar. There were no lights on. I snapped on the wall switch. That one.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I saw young Jimmy Lyons.
That's the intern?
Yes, he was unconscious on the floor. I could see his head had been cut. He was bleeding profusely.
What'd you do then?
I called Mother Superior, and she came right down. Dr. Spencer was summoned. He came in and started administering aid to intern Lyons there on the floor.
Was that when you found out the narcotics were missing?
No, not just at that moment. Both Mother Superior and myself were quite worried about young Lyons' condition. It was really Mother Superior who first noticed the narcotics safe had been tampered with.
Your stories don't exactly jibe there, sister.
How do you mean?
Mother Superior gives you credit for first noticing the theft.
Oh, my, no. She's very charitable, but she's the first one who pointed to the safe. She's very observant.
I understand. Go ahead, please.
Upon checking the safe, we found that someone had taken our entire store of narcotics. Everything.
Is that the safe over there?
Yes, that's the narcotic safe. Don't touch that, Mr. Friday.
No?
No, never. Nothing is to be touched until the police have completed their investigation. Clues.
Well, we're the police, sister.
Then, do you have all the clues you need?
Well, I wouldn't know, but the men from Layton Fingerprints have dusted everything here, so it's all right to touch things now.
That was Mr. Harlan Stahl and his men?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I didn't know.
We understand you have the inventory list.
Yes, I have it on my desk. Here.
Thank you.
We keep a running inventory, so that's the exact amount that's missing.
Yes, ma'am. Cocaine and morphine. No bird's eye, Joe.
Big haul, huh?
Looks like about 10,000 worth.
Like to have a copy of this inventory, sister?
Would you take the carbon? I like to keep the originals for my monthly files.
That'll be fine.
Outside of this intern, Lyons, nobody saw whoever it was.
No. Mother Superior and I have interrogated everyone. We made a thorough investigation on our own. I took notes.
That so?
Yes, that's the way Father Brown does it.
Father Brown?
Oh, yes, he's an expert detective.
Brown. You wouldn't mean Thad Brown?
No, Father Brown.
Father Brown. You people have your own detectives now?
Oh, my, no. He's not a regular detective. He's more like Mother Superior and myself.
Is that right?
Yes, he's in England. Solves some really difficult cases. Here, I'll show you. See right here? The Triple Cross, another exciting Father Brown mystery by G.K. Chesterton.
Oh.
Yes, I've all but one of the Father Brown books. Mother Superior has it. I get it after she finishes.
Mm-hmm. What's the condition of the intern?
He's resting comfortably. Dr. Spencer says he'll be all right. Had to take 9 stitches in his scalp.
We'd like to talk to him.
I'm sure that'll be all right. I don't have to tell you we all think this is a terrible thing.
Yes, sister, it is.
All those narcotics. Whoever took them will distribute them, won't they?
Well, that's our guess, sister. The stuff will be sold to addicts.
What makes a dope addict? How do they get started? Why do they do it?
I don't know, sister. I give you a lot of reasons.
None of them good.
None of them good.
And for a few moments of what? Tonight they have it and tomorrow they have nothing.
That's about the size of it, sister.
The stars are setting and the caravan starts for the dawn of nothing.
The Bible.
No, Omar Khayyam.
Before we left St. Christopher's Hospital, we talked with intern James Lyons. Since he was slugged from behind, he failed to see his assailant. He could tell us nothing. The entire hospital staff was screened thoroughly. They could add nothing to what we already knew. Between 6 and 7 o'clock that morning, $10,000 worth of high-grade prescription narcotics had been stolen. Somewhere in the city of Los Angeles was the answer. As in all narcotics cases, speed is the prime factor. Whoever held those narcotics wouldn't waste any time diluting or cutting it and making it ready for quick sale. Our job was to stop them. 5 minutes past 8 a.m., we checked in with Sergeant Harlan Stahl at Latent Fingerprints Detail.
Not much help, is it?
That's all you got, huh?
The safe was clean, not a print on it. No prints anywhere in the room. Slugged the intern from behind, took his keys, tore a belt loop off his trousers, opened the safe and waltzed out. Couldn't have been cleaner.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything on your end, huh?
Nothing.
Gentlemen?
Captain?
I picked one up.
Who is he?
Junker by the name of Babe Kellogg. He's really seeing Steve, but he's coming out of it. Let's go talk to him. Check you later, Stahl.
Yeah.
What's the story on him?
Wallace and Hunt picked him up. Downtown L.A. He was sitting in a parked car at 4th and Broadway. Thought at first he was a 390, but they couldn't raise him. He's down this way.
What else?
Well, Wallace figured he must be geed up, so they rolled up his sleeve to look for the spike marks. They found him.
Find anything on him?
Yeah, there were 2 vials of M on the seat beside him. Prescription stuff. You got that list of serial numbers from the hospital?
Yeah, right here.
All right, let's go in. Wallace?
Yeah, Captain?
Friday's got a list of the serial numbers on that hospital heist. Hop down and check them against the vials you found in his car.
Yeah, here you are, Wallace.
Thanks, Joe.
How you feeling, babe?
All right.
Kellogg, this is Friday and Romero, Central Division.
I see him.
You want to tell us about it?
Nothing to tell.
Living high, aren't you?
I'm unusual.
It's not the way I get it. You're scoring good. Prescription stuff.
Birthday present from a friend.
Who is it?
I want to keep his friendship.
Who's your connection, babe?
I don't know.
You know that morphine we picked out of your car is hot.
Isn't all of it?
Hospital pharmacy was knocked over this morning. If the numbers on those vials of yours match up, you're in a real jam.
No numbers on them?
You might as well tell us where you got it.
I'm not going to be a Fagin for you.
Nobody's asking to be a Fagin, Kellogg. That's high-powered stuff. If we don't get anybody else, it can go hard for you.
I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
You want to stand alone on this one, not the idea?
I didn't say that.
Well, one of us isn't going to go along and hold your hand. How about it? Who's your connection?
All right, it isn't going to be a long wait, Kellogg. As soon as Walters gets back with those serial numbers, you can play hero all afternoon.
It'll be on the 12th floor of the county jail, babe. You won't have to wait long there either. The minute you put one foot in that courtroom, the judge will throw everything he's got at you.
2 bottles of drugstore stuff?
Robbery, Kellogg. $10,000.
Well, this is good, but 2 bottles ain't worth that much.
Well, you only show a part of it. Maybe you got the rest of it at your plant.
You got my plant. 1931 Essex. 4-wheel brakes.
Your car's being checked out.
Didn't find any more, did you? No, I couldn't be that lucky.
You feel pretty good now, but you'll get a yen on.
You won't help me. You never do.
When's the last time you helped us?
Your memory's worse than mine. I helped you. I helped you guys a lot. Don't you remember the Frank Smith plant?
No.
1933, Friday night last. I led you right through Smitty's plant. Smitty didn't have no geezer like he found on me. He was a big man. We turned up 4 kites on him.
Not for us, you didn't.
Sure I did. Right here in Kansas City. I done you a big favor that night. Friday night last.
A different town and a different night, babe.
You're kidding. In the St. Louis?
Seeing Steve.
Yeah.
Don't kid me along. This is Kansas City. Where is St. Louis?
You're in Los Angeles, babe. Los Angeles, California.
You're kidding. Clenard wouldn't do that to me.
Who's Clenard?
Livingston, Baltimore. Hangs out down at the Continental Hotel.
That's in Kansas City.
Yeah, Marty Clenard. Tough cop. He said he'd make a hot for me. He didn't want me at KC. Gave me a floater at a time. That's why I came here to St. Louis.
You're in Los Angeles, babe. You got it? Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. You told me.
I'm going to step outside a minute.
Yeah. Stay with him, Romano.
Right.
That's it.
Checks out, huh?
Somebody cut through the serial number stamps on the vials, but you can still make them out. The 2 vials of morphine we found in Kellogg's car were from the hospital pharmacy.
Thanks, Wallace. Let's try it again, Friday.
Right.
All right, babe, now let's cut out the jokes. Those 2 vials you had came from the hospital. The numbers check out.
No numbers on those vials.
How do you know? You probably didn't even look at them.
Oh, yeah, I looked. No numbers on them.
We found them, all right.
I don't see how you could read them. I couldn't.
Why not?
Somebody scratched them off.
Who, babe?
You wouldn't know.
Try it.
How much heat do I have to stand if I take it alone?
Plenty. There was an intern slugged on that job. Hurt pretty bad. They're going to tag you for assault, too.
I never hit anybody in my life.
How do we know?
I just told you.
We don't know you didn't pull this job. We haven't got any proof.
Once more, what's the count?
Goes like this, babe. 1st-degree robbery, 5 years to life. Assault with a deadly weapon, 1 to 10. Violation of the State Narcotics Act, 1 to 15. You can add. They'll lose you up there. You can get a real yen on by that time. There's no buzzing up at Q.
I can't go that route.
Where'd you get the stuff?
I'd rather be a Fagin than spend 50 years at the joint.
You convinced us. Where'd you get it?
Anybody turned Fagin before they spend 50 years at Q. No, I can't go that route.
Where'd you get it, babe?
From some joy popper.
Who?
I gave him $700. Cleaning.
Who?
Company passing himself off as a croaker. I can spot a guy's been hitting speedballs a mile away. I knew he wasn't any croaker.
What was his name?
He was scoring good somewhere. Oh, that's Cecil and Mary. Now I know where he got it.
Give us his name, babe.
He's a bit clear in pictures, Leonard Castle.
Where is he?
You're in Arizona. On location.
How could he be on location when you bought that stuff from him this morning?
Hopped the plane this morning. He was on his way.
Leonard Castle. Picture actor, that right?
You got it.
Run it down.
10 a.m. We checked the name Leonard Castle through R&I. We found nothing. We looked in the phone book and got the number. Garfield 3711, Central Casting.
Central Casting.
Los Angeles Police Department calling.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Leonard Castle registered with you?
1 moment. Yes, we do.
Wonder if you could tell me if he's working.
Oh, just a minute. I have his card right here. Yes, he's working. He's doing crime report for Schumann and Kester, independent production. They're shooting over at Sound Stages Incorporated.
They're working today?
Yes, he is.
You're sure that company's not on location?
No, we have no location showing for that picture.
Well, could you give me his call, please?
Surely. He had a 9 o'clock call today, stage 3. Did you wish to see Mr. Castle?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any trouble locating him over there.
We'll find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here is Nurse Shirley Gilman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild and has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. And that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
10:30 a.m. Central Casting gave us Leonard Castle's home address, and Detectives Long and Hunt went on immediate stakeout. Ben and I drove out to Sound Stages Incorporated and checked in at the reception desk. We showed them our identification. We were issued a pass to Sound Stage 3.
This is Stage 1. Stage 3 ought to be down there.
Yeah.
Not a very big lot.
No, it's pretty small. Watch the truck, Ben.
Think Kellogg knew what he's talking about?
We'll know in a couple of minutes.
Not very usual. Joy Popper pulling a job like that.
They all start somewhere.
That's a good way to get around a movie lot. Bicycle.
Better than walking. Sure a thick fog, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't have 'em often, but when we get 'em, they're real pea super. Oh, here we are.
You better hold it, Ben. Red light. They're shooting in there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
What's Stage 5, you know?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, thanks.
All clear. Let's go in.
Hey, fella.
Yeah.
Wonder if you can tell us where we can find Leonard Castle?
Sure. Rosie, call Len Castle, will you? This fellow's want to see him.
Okay.
Leonard Castle. Leonard Castle.
Guess we can wait over here by the phone, huh?
He'll be right here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Rosie, you call me?
These gentlemen want to see you.
Thanks, Willie. You want to see me?
Your name, Leonard Castle?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers.
Yeah?
There's someplace where we can talk.
Well, is this all right? I got to stick close. I might be in the next shot.
All right. You know a fellow by the name of Babe Kellogg?
No?
He says he knows you.
No, I never heard of him.
You sure?
Put us on a bell, George. Hold the work. Quiet down, quiet.
Have to hold it a minute. They're lining up a shot.
Lefty, move that fruit about 1.5 feet to your right. That's it. Hold it right there. Make it a little hotter. Couple of turns. Whoa, whoa. That's got it. Baxter, give me an inky dink right here. Camel left.
Harry.
No.
When Fred Conrad crosses over to the table, can you help me out a little? Can you bring this one down about 2 points on the dimmer?
It's done. Don, you get that?
Already, Millie.
Conrad?
Yes, sir?
Take it real easy. Remember, you don't know your sergeant's got a clue until he comes to you with it.
All right.
You're anticipating a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it.
Bob, watch that mic shadow. We're getting it on that wall.
Am I out now?
Not too much. You come in a little. That's fine. You're clear.
All ready?
All right, we can try one.
Turn him over.
Rolling.
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right down.
What I found it, guys.
Piece of that broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
Let's hold it quiet, folks.
You never heard of Babe Kellogg, huh?
That's right.
Where were you at 6 o'clock this morning, Castle?
In bed?
We got men out to your place checking.
What's it all about?
Between 6 and 7 o'clock this morning, somebody robbed the pharmacy at St. Christopher's Hospital. They slugged the intern, made off with over $10,000 worth of narcotics.
Yeah?
If we find you were in bed between 6 and 7, you're clear.
No, I was.
Anybody to back up that alibi?
The landlady, I guess you'd know.
What time she generally get up?
Oh, I don't know. Why?
She couldn't very well back you up. She was still asleep.
Well, she's usually up early.
Thought you said you didn't know what time she got up.
Well, I meant I don't usually know.
But you knew this morning.
No.
And you don't know Babe Kellogg.
Simmer down, everybody. Let's have it quiet.
Light them off.
What do you read on that junior, Harry?
9 plus.
Make it a little hotter.
A little hotter, Jack. That's it. Whoa. 10 plus, Steve.
That's it.
How about it, Steve?
Anytime.
Turn him over. Rolling.
Spade. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Ted.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with print.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut. Jake, you said plastered with prints. The line reads plastered with fingerprints. You gotta say the whole word. They'll never know what you mean in Vancouver. Come here, I'll talk to you.
Yeah. Hold the work. Keep it quiet.
That's Millie. He's a tough director, but he's a good one.
How long you been doing this kind of work, Castle?
Oh, 6-7 years.
What pictures you been in?
Oh, I don't think you'd have noticed. They're mostly small parts.
What kind of parts you got in this picture?
I play a cop.
What would you like to do?
In this picture?
No, I mean, what's your ambition? You gonna stay in pictures?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get a few bigger parts if I could. It's pretty tough to try and sell yourself to producer if you can't see you on film.
Money's pretty good, though, isn't it?
Well, it all depends. It's a different deal on each picture you do.
Mm-hmm. You have an agent?
No, I did have. Wasn't doing anything for me, so I let him go on. Not represented now.
Pretty hard to build any kind of a name without an agent, isn't it?
It all depends. If you can keep up a good front, nice car, that's all that counts in this town.
You really believe that, do you?
Don't you?
Well, I don't know much about it. I'm not an actor.
You said you didn't know Babe Kellogg at all, didn't you?
No, I don't know.
You said you saw your landlady at 6 o'clock this morning.
No, I didn't say that. Well, there's Theodore Milton, the director. Would you like to meet him?
What time did you see your landlady this
Oh,
morning?
Mr. Milton.
Yeah, Castle?
When are you going to get to me, Millie? Yeah, need me in the shop?
No, still on the same thing. We'll get to you till after lunch. You can stay with your friend.
Okay.
What time does it break for lunch, Castle?
This company usually breaks around 12:30.
It's only 11:15. Maybe we can go outside and talk. The director said he didn't need you.
Why, you never want to believe the director. It's always the first assistant.
We could check with him, couldn't we?
Well, I don't like to do that. I hate to ask any favors.
Said he wasn't going to use you till after lunch.
Well, it isn't a good policy to bother the first assistant.
Well, it's probably better in here anyway. I didn't see any place to sit down outside. Unless you have a car in the lot. Do you have a car?
No, I don't.
But you told us you had a car.
No, I didn't tell you that, did I?
Well, you said something about keeping up a good front, nice car. Isn't that what you said?
Oh, sure, I have a car. I don't know what I was thinking about. Yeah, I have a car.
Mm-hmm. I thought you said you had a car.
Well, I tell you, this picture act will drive you crazy. I don't know what I'm saying if it's
Maybe you made a mistake about Babe Kellogg. Do you know him?
No, I'm sure about that. I don't know any Babe Carson.
Kellogg.
You're Kellogg, you know. I don't know him.
Would you mind showing us your wallet?
Well, what for? You want to see my identification?
Can we see the wallet, please?
All right. Yeah.
No, you hold it. Would you open it up?
Okay.
Quiet, please. All right, Chief.
Yeah, okay.
Turn. Rolling.
Spade. All right. Nice and easy now. Fingerprints, Jake.
Right.
Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Ted.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
Sandy. No talking, folks.
Let's see how much money you got in your wallet, Castle. No, you hold it. Just count it for us.
Oh, there it is.
What about the rest of it in there?
All right, I didn't see it.
All right, count it.
Just a few hundred here.
Count it.
All right. Let's see.
Well, I can see 450s right there on top. That's 200, isn't it?
Yeah. 300. 400. 450.
Yeah, go on.
I didn't know I had this much.
That's 250 more. That makes 700, doesn't it?
It's more than I thought I had.
There's 2 more 10s and a 5 there. That's $725, Castle.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well on this picture, aren't you?
It's not all picture money.
All right, you can put your wallet away.
Thanks.
You didn't make this money on the picture. Where'd you get it?
Played a little cards last night.
Play pretty late?
Yeah, pretty late.
Weren't you tired this morning?
No.
Not even when you got up at 6?
Did I say I got up at 6?
Now, listen, Castle. You don't know what you said, but one thing's sure, you're lying to us. You know Babe Kellogg, and you know him well enough to sell him 2 vials of high-grade morphine.
Oh, you're wrong about that.
All right, then you set us straight. Kellogg says he paid you $700 for this stuff. You got over $700 in your wallet. That's more than you need for lunch money. Now, this could be a coincidence. You set us straight.
Well, you're wrong.
Where'd you get the money?
Turn him. Rolling.
Spade. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Ted.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
All right, once more.
Where'd you get the money, Castle?
I told you I played cards.
It won't do. Got the keys to your car?
I can't leave.
We'll get you excused. We want to look at your car.
No, don't do that.
All right, then. Do you know Babe Kellogg?
I don't know.
Turn him. Rolling.
Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in. Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut. Bring it. Hold it for Lily.
Do you know Babe Kellogg?
Yes. Yes, I know him.
You robbed that hospital this morning.
I needed it. I needed the money. I had to have it. I owed money. They were going to take my car. I was broke. What else could I do? I was sick once. I stayed at St. Christopher's. I knew where they kept the drugs. I knew if I could get them, I could make some fast money. I didn't mean to hit the kid. I couldn't let him see me. He didn't have to be there, did he? He didn't have to be there. I sold old Babe the stuff, and the rest is in the car under the seat. I needed the money. I was broke. I was broke.
Better get him out of here, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Castle.
That was a great reading. My name's Milton. I'm directing this picture. You the boy's agent?
No, sir.
Never heard him read better. Funny thing, though.
Yeah?
In front of the camera, he goes to the dogs.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in reaching the solution of a crime depends on the combined efforts of many minds and many hands. The crime lab, state and federal peace officers, and you, the citizen. And so with Fatima. The combined efforts of many go into their blending and manufacture. Skilled hands, working with the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, make Fatima extra mild, best of all long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, try Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Ladies and gentlemen, starting Thursday, August 24th, that's 2 weeks from tonight, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
Leonard Francis Castle was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and violating the State Narcotics Act. He received sentences as prescribed by law. Alfred Babe Kellogg was convicted of violating the State Narcotics Act. Both men are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper. Next on NBC.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, A Fire for Romano.
It started with a little man with deep wrinkles in his forehead and troubles on his mind. Then there was a kid traveling fast in a hot rod. And then there were 2 women. One who didn't deserve to die, but did. And another one who did deserve to die, but didn't. It was a sunny, healthy Chamber of Commerce Tuesday that I wandered into my boss, the Lyon's office. Got a surprise. No Anthony J. Lyon. Then I remembered he was on vacation. Yeah. It's made it look like an even sunnier, healthier Tuesday. Let's see, the beach or the track or... That was before the door opened right behind me, and the aforementioned little man with wrinkles walked in.
Mr. Regan?
Huh?
You are Mr. Regan, the detective?
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Regan, I need your help. Could you help me?
I'm afraid I didn't get your name.
I am Romano. Elio Romano.
Well, sit down, Mr. Romano.
Thank you.
Well.
What do you say, Mr. Regan?
Very nice fit. What? What's that? Oh, just the chair. Fits pretty good.
The chair fits?
Yeah, my boss is on vacation. I'm just trying out his chair.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah. Suppose you tell me about your problem. You're needing help, Mr. Romano.
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. It's true. I do need help. My store. It's my store.
Store.
I have a smaller grocery store. It's on the 6th Street. It's my own little store, and I'm very
Romano,
proud.
What about the store?
Oh, such a nice little place where people may buy food. We got everything, my Maria and I. We are the proprietors of this store. We also own it.
Fine. Now, what about...
It's called the Romanos. We have a big new neon sign. My someone is trying to destroy my store.
Now we're making headway. Tell me about the someone.
I don't know this someone. If I should get my hands on them...
Somebody breaks windows?
No. They tried to burn it down. They tried to burn my store.
When?
Last week, Thursday.
Did you call the police?
Yes.
And then what?
Well, they said there was an accident. They said I did this to my own store. Ma questa è una cosa che... Oh, mamma mia.
And you're sure it was no accident?
Mr. Regan, would I destroy the one thing Maria and I have given our lives to make? Would I so much as harm a single little glass window? No, I would not.
Where'd the fire start?
In the back room where the cans are stored.
What time of day?
Night. It was at night. My Maria and I, we sleep above the store. My Maria smelled the smoke, and together we put out the fire before the damage could become great.
Mm-hmm. That's the only time it happened?
No. The day before that, I found a light match in the waste basket. It was just as I was closing for the night. Well, I stopped this one very quick.
2 nights in a row. You're right, Romano. Doesn't look very accidental.
Oh, believe me, Mr. Regan, I would never do this to my store. Never.
Okay, Romano. I believe you. Suppose you and I run out there. Take a look. The little man with the wrinkled brow got in the car beside me, and we drove out 6th Street, past Alvarado, past Union. We parked in front of a small grocery store with a big neon sign over the door. Sign said very proudly, Romano's. And my client, Romano, glanced at it, nodded approvingly, and we walked in.
Elio, you're back safely.
That foolish woman. Of course I'm back safely.
And this is Mr. Regan, the detective.
See. Mr. Regan, my wife, Maria. You're a very foolish woman.
Elio, twice said too much.
How do you do, Miss Romano?
The pig of a husband. If you worry about him and he says so, he call you foolish. If you do not worry about him, he say you don't care.
Maria, Mr. Regan is going to help us. He promised he will help us.
You told him everything, Elio.
Maria, please.
Everything, Elio. You promised me you would tell Mr. Regan everything.
See.
Well?
Suppose you tell me, Mrs. Romano.
See, Maria. Suppose you tell me.
Elio. Mr. Regan, in the first place, you must know that we do not have much money.
See, very little, Mr. Regan.
In the second place, you must know we do not have many friends.
See, very few.
Now, we'll work out the money later, Miss Romano. Tell me about the friends now.
Maria, tell me.
We believe certain things, Mr. Regan. We run our business our own way, and no one can tell us otherwise. We believe in being our own boss.
Mm-hmm. That's why you have very few friends?
See, that is why.
Mr. Regan, please, come with me. Right away, I'll show you where the fires start. Please, come with me.
Romano led me into a small back room behind the counter. There were shelves filled with canned goods and paper cartons. He showed me the wastepaper basket near the door. Easy to toss a match in through the window above it that opened onto the alley. There were a few charred pieces of wood here and there, but very little damage had been done. Still, if everything Romano said were true, it didn't look like an accident. It was while he was pointing out the burnt wood that a customer came in the front door. I moved over toward the doorway and listened.
Well, we'll see about that when I tell my neighbors.
It was then that things began to get interesting. I looked out. Plump, smug-looking woman, carrying a heavy purse, her eyes glaring behind rimless glasses.
That's your idea, eh? To force as many people in here as you can? Well, there certainly must be some law against people like you.
Please, Mrs. Wilson.
I just wanted to make sure, that's all. And I must say I got what I came for.
What was that all about, Mrs. Romano?
Oh, Mr. Regan, you heard.
Marie, what has she said to
Quiet,
you?
Romano.
Mr. Regan is right, Elio. It was enough.
It didn't sound like nothing, Mrs. Romano. What'd she mean by tell my neighbors?
No, we will not talk of it.
See, we will talk of it. Mr. Regan, this woman, this is Mrs. Wilson. She used to be our best customer. Then she turned on us. She tells all her friends not to come to our store.
Why?
Why? Because who knows why?
Oh, you have started it. Now you will finish, Elio. She does not buy from us because we would not let her tell us how to run our store.
See.
That's all there is to it?
See.
When did this start?
A week ago.
Oh. Same time the fire started.
See, the same... But, Mr. Regan, you don't think...
You hired me to think, Romano. I'll see you later.
Mr. Regan, where you going?
To talk to Mrs. Wilson. If I moved fast, I could find Mrs. Wilson. If I could find her, I could talk to her. She had answers, plenty of them. Plenty more than the Romanos gave her credit for. And then I saw her, a block away, walking fast. I followed. Around the corner, she turned up the walk and disappeared into a two-story apartment house. I was right behind her. The mailbox out front said 208, and when I got there, the door was just closing. A knock.
Yes?
Could I talk to you for a minute?
Young man, if you're selling
I'm not
something...
selling anything.
Then what do you want?
Just a couple of questions, Mrs. Wilson, about the Romanos.
Oh, so that's your game, is it? You're trying
I'm not
to tell
trying
me...
to tell you anything. We'd just better talk now, for your own good.
You go back and tell those people we don't want them around here. We don't want them in our neighborhood. Is that clear?
That's as good a place to start as any. Now we'll just...
Oh, no, you don't. You're not coming in without a warrant. I knew you were a policeman right away. They called you, those Romanos. Just like them to take advantage of our Constitution. But I know my rights as a citizen.
Lady,
I haven't broken any laws, you understand? It's them that cause all the trouble, them. And we don't want their kind around here. Now, good day.
So I had nothing after all. I got in my car, drove down toward police headquarters. It wasn't that easy. Because behind me, starting at Alvarado, was a yellow Model A Ford. A yellow hot rod, and it wasn't behind me by accident. It stayed there 2 blocks, 10 blocks, 20. And whoever sat behind the wheel didn't care if I knew it. He stayed that way until we reached a block without traffic, and then suddenly the yellow car gunned up in the rearview mirror. And I could see a young kid hunched angrily over the steering wheel, and there wasn't any doubt about what a kid like that had on his mind or what he was going to do. He moved the car up close, next to mine, and yelled something angry kids yell, and suddenly his yellow coupe shot out ahead and cut into me. Like I figured. He tried to run me off the street onto the sidewalk. Now the yellow coupe was just a blur in the distance. I pulled out from the curb, eased into gear, and took my time driving to the police station. The police told me to check with the arson squad. The arson squad told me to check with the sergeant. And to make a rotten day just that much rottener, the sergeant turned out to be a guy I knew, named Bowles.
All right, what do you want, Regan?
Transferred from homicide, Bowles?
I don't need any of your lip today, Regan. I'm busy. What do you want?
You handle the Romano investigation?
Romano? Who's that?
It's the poor guy who happens to own a grocery store.
Romano. Yeah, I checked it out last week.
Find anything?
Sure. Scared little guy ought to watch where he tosses his matches.
That's all you could find.
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it.
Give, Bowles. I'm busy today myself.
Times must be tough, Regan. You're taking a fee from a
Answer me, Bowles.
Okay. The guy had a fire. Know what caused it? Matches. Know the total damage? $10. Now, Regan, if you think we got enough men to stake out a 2 big...
Ever hear of putting out a fire before it starts, Bowles? You wouldn't have heard that.
I told you we haven't got enough men, Regan. Sure, we'd like to prevent it, okay. But you need men, Regan. We haven't got them.
Okay, Bowles. What have you got?
There's no evidence of outside work.
Meaning what?
No evidence that anybody else started it, Regan.
Spell it out, Bowles.
Sure, I'll spell it out. Maybe somebody did start the fire on purpose. You know who gained by that, Regan? No, don't guess. Let me tell you. A character named Romano.
Bowles, if you think...
I didn't set it up, Regan. Somebody else did. For your information, this client of yours, Romano, has his grocery store well covered. You know what they call it, Regan? Fire insurance. Lots of fire insurance.
And that's what I got from Sergeant Bowles. I left the station, drove down to a chop house on 3rd Street, had myself a big dinner, and tried to think. Only it wasn't that easy. Ideas would fit together during the salad and go to pieces during the steak. By the time I got to dessert, it was anybody's guess. I paid the blonde waitress and drove out 6th Street, watching the street lights go on and hoping one of them would shed some light on the problem. And when I got past Alvarado, I didn't have time to think. I stepped on the gas, drove faster, into streets becoming crowded, alive, into confusion and fire engines, into shouts and smoke. A man in a fire helmet directed me over to the side of the road, and I parked and got out and walked into the excitement and confusion and heat, and into a sweaty, curious, open-collared, open-mouthed, hot-eyed, staring mob, and there were shouts all around me. Hey, Joe. Hey, Edna. Hey, Pete. Come take a look. Romano's, the grocery store, burning down.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled A Fire for Romano.
A little man named Romano had hired me to find out who tried to burn down his grocery store, and I'd met an irate customer, an overworked cop, and a kid in a hot rod. Now I was back on 6th Street, back at Romano's little store, and there was a mob of excitement-hungry people yelling and cheering and shouting, while flames licked up the store walls and around a big new neon sign Romano had proudly shown me. And I was moving into the mob, trying to get closer, when a big burly man covered with soot and sweat shoved me aside.
Hey, stand back, will you please, mister?
Have you seen the owner?
Too many people to see anything, mister. Out of my way.
The big fireman moved on, and I followed him, letting him clear a path through the spectators, and up ahead, I could see another big man. This one I knew.
Stand back there. Oh, Regan.
Rand, have you seen Romano, the owner?
What's he look like?
A little guy, dark hair, mustache.
Dark soul, Regan. I haven't seen anybody. Better...
Fire Chief Rand's shouts were lost in the crowd behind me as I moved and shoved and pushed my way around to the side of the burning grocery store. Somewhere in there was my client, Romano, and his wife, Maria. And then, stumbling out through the smoke, came a fireman. And he was dragging a man, a little man, coughing, spitting, screaming. It was Romano.
Easy. This is the man you were looking for, mister.
Maria, let me go, please. Let me go.
Romano, it's me, Regan.
Let me go in the name of God. Please let me go, Maria. I must get to my Maria.
You take him, mister. I'll go back for her.
Right, I got him.
Regan. Mr. Regan, where is she? They left for my Maria.
Take it easy, Romano. They'll get Maria.
They must have saved her. I'm going to get to Maria. I'm going to get...
I pulled the little man away from the smoke and heat and people and stretched him out on the pavement. In a few minutes, his breathing became regular and the coughing stopped, and he slept. And 10 minutes after that, the big fireman came out with Maria and placed her on the pavement beside her husband. Only Maria wasn't coughing or breathing. She was dead. The ambulance took Maria and Romano away. The fire hissed steam where the firemen's hoses poured gallons of water. And soon even the crowd had lost interest. and only the hissing steam and smoke filled the cavity that had been Romano's grocery store. Fire Chief Rand came over to me.
Did you find him, Regan, that man you were looking for?
Yeah, Rand. I found him.
He okay?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be all right. Not his wife.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Regan. We did the best we could.
I know. Rand, what started it?
I was just checking. So far, nothing conclusive.
You think it was an accident?
No. Went too fast. This one was planned, Regan.
Pyromaniac.
I'm not too sure. The nuts usually stick around. Watch it. They get their kicks that way.
Check the crowds?
We always check the crowd. Nothing certain yet.
Okay, Rand. Thanks.
Regan, when you see Romano, tell him we did our best.
I left Rand examining the charred scraps of what was left of Romano's grocery store. I walked down the street, thinking, putting the twos with other twos and trying to make fours. And then I saw something up ahead, and I forgot about the twos and fours and moved faster. It was a yellow Model A Ford parked 3 blocks from the scene of the fire, sitting quiet, docile, far from the nearest streetlight. I got to it, started to look in. It was the car that had tried to run me off the street. It was...
Get away from there, mister.
I turned, saw a kid. The kid who'd driven the car into me. In his right hand, a revolver.
Come on, get away from it.
You like guns.
They get me things. Come on.
You also like matches.
Shut up.
You also like killing people.
Right!
He blinked when I said killing, and I drove across the sidewalk at his knees, and we went down together, rolling on the pavement and digging for the gun. And it was anybody's weapon until I felt the cold steel of it pressing between us. Saw the barrel moving up under my chin. Heard the report. Kid was gone. And I was holding a sticky, damp spot above my left ear, and when I pulled my hand away, it too was sticky and damp. I got up, rocked unsteadily on my feet, stumbled down to my car. I reached for the ignition, pushed the starter, and decided to wait. Voices and faces, and voices and lights, and a big blank wall to stare at. I waited, not being sure, and then I opened my eyes, and the blank wall was the ceiling, and the face was Sergeant Bowles. Who said it was just a scratch?
Lay down.
What's going on around here?
Said lay down. You want to hurt something or something?
Bowles, your humor stinks. Where are we?
Georgia Receiving.
Huh?
Only why Rand had bothered...
Rand brought me here.
He found you in your car. You were out. Way out.
Romano. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
His wife, Maria. Does Romano know?
Yeah, he knows.
Bowles.
Yeah?
You still figure Romano burned his own store down?
Shut up.
Like you said, Bowles, who would gain but Romano? Who, Bowles, who?
Okay, so I was wrong, okay? We did our best.
After the crime. What did you do before it happened, Bowles?
Slow down, Regan. You're racing your motor. Besides, suppose you answer a couple of questions.
Okay. Just ask me. Bowles asked me, and I told him. And he folded his notebook and he walked out. I got up, checked my legs and the bandage over my left ear, glanced down the hospital corridor, and walked out. 30 minutes later, the cab let me off where I'd last seen that yellow coupe, and I began to check garages. And the first one I checked was behind the apartment building where Mrs. Wilson lived. And I got nothing. 30 minutes after that, I'd covered her side of the block and was on the last apartment across the street. 4 garages, side by side. First Chevy, second Dodge, third Ford. Not a new one. It was a coupe like the yellow one I was looking for, only this was black. Shiny black. Shiny black. That was worth something. I moved into the dark garage and looked closer at that Model A and reached out and touched the shininess and brought my finger back fast. Sticky. Wet. Newly painted.
What are you doing back here?
Short, fat, with a flashlight beam in my eyes.
Come on, speak up. What's your business?
Turn off your light.
Not a chance, mister. I'm on
I said turn it off.
Hey!
Whose car is this?
None of your business.
I said whose car?
This is my property, mister. You...
Stop!
It ain't my place to give out information on my tenant.
Oh, the owner lives in your apartment?
Well,
Does he?
Well, I rent that garage, mister. $5 a month.
But the guy who owns the car doesn't live here?
It ain't no guy, mister. Woman pays the bill.
A woman. A plump woman. Wears rimless glasses.
Yeah.
Her name's Wilson. Mrs. Wilson.
Hey, that's...
Thanks.
Hey, you ain't got no right to ask me questions.
I moved around the building, across the street, double time. Double time up the stairs. Up to the place I'd been earlier in the afternoon. It was late now, very late. But whether she liked it or not, Mrs. Wilson was getting a caller. I leaned on the buzzer, stayed on it. And midnight or not, Mrs. Wilson was going to answer if it took me home.
What's the meaning of this? The very idea... Oh, it's you. Well, see here.
I'm coming in, Mrs. Wilson.
I won't have this, you. I'm calling the manager. That's what I'm
I'm
going
coming
to do.
in, Mrs. Wilson.
You policemen have no right to disturb peace-loving citizens.
I'm not the police, Mrs. Wilson.
You're not the police? Well, in this case...
Not this time.
Get out of my house, do you hear? Get out of...
Shut up.
And what do you want?
Your son. If he is your son.
You're playing crazy. My son is out of town.
Really?
He's been gone since yesterday. He's visiting his aunt.
That right.
He left on the train for Santa Barbara. That's where my sister lives. Tommy left yesterday morning.
Tell me about Tommy.
He's a good boy. There's nothing he's done wrong. He's... what right have you got?
What right have you got covering up a murder?
Murder?
Sure, murder, Mrs. Wilson. When your kid set fire to Romano's store, somebody was killed. The law can call that manslaughter, Mrs. Wilson, but you and I know it's murder.
You're lying. You're making...
Why, Mrs. Wilson? That's all I want to know. Why? Why did you knowingly let your kid set fire to that store? What kind of a distorted brain...
You shut up! What those people got, they deserved. We don't want their kind in this neighborhood. We've got our rights.
Who's we?
Citizens. Real American citizens.
Oh, Romano's not, is that it?
There's no place here
I think I'll just look around, Mrs. Wilson.
Where are you going?
Look around. Something brought this business to a boil.
You stay out of there!
Ah, I wasn't going in. But since you made a point of it. Kitchen.
You get out of here.
Now, why would you care if I looked in your kitchen, Mrs. Wilson? Interesting. Very interesting.
You've got no right to come in
Coffee,
here and...
sugar, soap. Lots of it. Let's see. Say about 24 cans of coffee. A couple of cases of soap. And there's a sugar there.
I paid for it. It's my right to buy what I want. Romano can't tell me what I'm supposed...
Romano tried to tell you how much you could buy.
No dirty, filthy foreigner is going to tell me what I can...
That's right. You're an American. A real patriotic American.
Right.
The Constitution says you've got a right to buy as much as you want any time you want. You've got your rights. Remember you telling me that.
So I'll thank you to keep your nose out of my...
Your kind belongs behind bars, Mrs. Wilson.
What?
Your kind can't eat off the same table with Romanos. Your kind belongs out back in a pig pen, where you can wallow in your soap and coffee and sugar and greed.
How dare you?
Get back with the pigs, Mrs. Wilson. Somebody left a loophole in the Constitution.
Why?
Stand right where you are, mister.
Well, that makes it complete.
Oh, Tommy. Oh, my Tommy.
I thought I stopped you once, mister.
Oh, he said such horrible things, Tommy. He said such terrible things.
I won't be saying much when I get through with him.
When you get through with what?
Oh.
Haven't you killed enough for one night?
Killed?
Mrs. Romano's dead. Dead from the smoke and flames and hate your mother cooked up.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to kill her.
Oh, just a little fire. Burn them out of the neighborhood. It's your mother's idea.
Tommy, don't let him talk to me that
Sure,
way.
they always start that way. Just a little hate. But it builds, doesn't it, kid? Starts with a fist, ends up with guns, lots of them.
But Tommy...
I didn't mean...
Go on, shoot, kid. Make the neighborhood safe for Americans. Your mother's kind of Americans. kind that breeds hate and greed and gets fat doing it.
Tommy, make him stop.
Shoot, kid. Go ahead, prove she's right, that you can kill because you're special like she is.
Tommy!
Give me that gun.
The gun.
Gun. Thanks. There must be something in the Constitution that fits you, Mrs. Wilson. And there was. Murder, arson, whatever you want to call the crimes of Mrs. Wilson. You might say she was fighting for a fifth freedom. The freedom of grab. And she won. The right to spend the next few years grabbing the bars of her own private cell. The next morning, I checked in down at the office of my boss, Anthony J. Lamb. Empty. Anthony J. on vacation. Way up in the mountains, breathing fresh air, living the hard, rugged life. Fishing, hunting, getting next to nature. And doing good. Thought about that as I sat down in his big swivel chair. Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. Regan speaking.
I have a long-distance call for Mr. Jeffrey Regan from Mr. Lyon in Mammoth Lakes, California.
Okay, I'm Regan.
The call is collect. Will you accept the charges?
What else? Okay, operator.
Jeffrey! Is that you, Jeffrey?
Lyon, how's the fishing?
What's that? Oh, terrible connection. I can't hear a thing.
I said, how's the fishing?
Fishing? Oh, yes. Fine. Wonderful. Spend every minute out on the lake. Open air. Exercise. Just a minute, Jeffrey. Certainly I'm in for $5. Deal, Charlie. Yes, really roughing it, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes, generally fine weather. Just what I needed. All this outdoor exercise. Pardon me, Jeffrey. These fishermen keep asking advice. I've got aces over queens. Sorry, gentlemen. My part again. That's why I called you, Jeffrey.
Fish biting that good, huh?
Biting? I've never seen so many suckers, fish in my life. You practically have to fight them off. Jeffrey, this exercise is doing me so much good.
Yeah, Lion.
Do you mind if I stay another week?
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written tonight by William Krug, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arad. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard transcribed each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Sunday at 8:30 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. A vicious case of wanton and willful destruction of private property occurs in your city. Suspicion points to a juvenile. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 10th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Bowling. My name's Friday. It was 9:35 a.m. when we got to 1335 Georgia Street. Captain's office.
I won't ask you to sit down. We're not going to be here that long.
You sound mad.
Get your hats.
Right with you.
Where's your car?
Right out front.
All right.
What's up?
A rotten mess.
We got in the car and drove south on Figueroa till we got to West 103rd Street. According to Inspector Bowling's directions, we turned right and went about 4 miles. He directed us to pull up in front of a one-story frame residence that had been converted into small business offices. On the right side, going in, was a neighborhood jeweler's shop. We could see him working in the window. Over the door of the office on the left was a lawyer's shingle. The gold lettering was new.
It's this way.
Lawyer's office.
That's right. Name's Paul Wilson. It's me, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, come in, Inspector Bowling.
Mr. Wilson, this is Sergeant Friday. Romero, juvenile detail. I'm assigning him this case.
How you do, Sergeant?
All right.
Sergeant.
All right, look at it. Just look at it.
Look at that, Joe.
Yeah.
Paint. It's all over everything. Look at that leather chair. It's ruined. The desk smeared with the stuff. Green paint.
Yeah. Looks like they threw it on with a mop, doesn't it?
Rug soaked with it, the walls. Look, Joe. They even got the clock.
Yeah.
Take a good look. Remember it when you tag whoever did it.
These your law books, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
I didn't have to do this.
Poured paint all over them.
Yes, sir.
When did all this happen?
Sometime last night. Found it this way when I came in this morning.
Any idea who did it?
That's why he called us, and we're going to find out.
I don't know who'd want to do a thing like this. Just opened my office 3 days ago. Just hung out my shingle.
You just started practicing law, then?
Yes, sir. Graduated from Loyola University Extension Division. Been looking for office space for a long time.
Was anything taken?
No. It's such a dirty, rotten thing to pull. Undoubtedly a kid.
That's pretty vicious for a kid. Can you think of any enemies that you might have had, Miss Wilson?
No, sir. No one would do a thing like this. Can't understand it. There's no reason for it that I can think of.
Crime report shows they got in the back door. Is that right, Mr. Wilson?
Well, can you come back here? I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is, right here. See, this used to be the kitchen when this was a flat. I was going to put a hot plate in here for coffee.
Oh, yes.
You can see where they cut through the screen door.
It's all right. It's been checked.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see.
Mm-hmm. Any pass key would fit the inside door here.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You can follow the trail of that green paint right from this door all the way through the house.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll ever get it all off. You know of any cleaners that handle things like this?
We're not allowed to recommend anybody, Mr. Wilson. If you have somebody in mind, we'd be happy to call them for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I was going to make some calls, but I haven't got my phone installed yet.
Estimated damage about $1,800. Is that right?
That's what I figure, yes. My law books are over $600 alone. Borrowed the money from the bank for the furniture.
You haven't noticed any kids in the neighborhood, none of them around while you were moving in?
No, I didn't see any. I moved everything in myself, rented a trailer, made several trips to get it all over here. Guess that was a silly thing to do.
Why?
Well, the store where I bought the furniture said they'd deliver it, but I couldn't wait to see everything in. First office, you know.
Yeah, we understand.
Well, like I said, I made several trips with the trailer, and I didn't lock the office each time I left. Didn't figure it was necessary. The fellow across the hall with jeweler said he'd keep an eye on things for me.
But you did lock up last night, didn't you?
Oh, yes. As soon as I was moved in, I locked the place at all times when I wasn't here.
That's it.
We'll get right on it.
I don't have to tell you again. I want a fast answer.
Where do we start?
With an empty paint can.
Before we left Attorney Paul Wilson, we took a sample scraping of the green paint to serve as a color check. We started to canvass the neighborhood door to door. We covered the area for a radius of 6 blocks, questioning the residents and checking out the youngsters. We failed to come up with anything. We figured another good angle was to try the schools in the area. We checked on the students who had been in any kind of trouble involving malicious pranks. We had the principals line their students up. We looked them all over thoroughly for any evidences of paint of any kind on their person or on their clothing. The few leads we found led nowhere. After a week without success, we went back and rechecked the neighborhood, the paint stores, to see if anyone had bought any green paint, anyone they might have forgotten to tell us about the first time through. No leads. Monday, April 18th, Ben and I stopped for a Coke at a hot dog stand on the corner of 103rd and Oakview Avenue.
A couple of Cokes, please.
You want to help yourself, sir?
Yeah, okay. Here's one. I don't see any more.
There's one lying on the side. No, over there with the grape.
Oh, yeah. Let me get it for you.
Oh, thanks.
Here you are.
Good.
Every time I think of that boy's office, it makes me sick.
Yeah.
If we could just get some kind of a lead. Anything for a start. Pardon me. I'd be satisfied.
There's nothing to work on. It's like stabbing in the dark.
Joe.
Yeah?
Look down the street there. This is tin can day. Everybody's got them set out in front of their houses.
It's worth a try, isn't it?
Let's try a place across the street and then work down the block.
All right. Come on.
I had a cousin move down from San Francisco. It took him almost a year to get used to this tin can system here in L.A.
Is that so?
Yeah, up there they throw everything into one garbage can. Tin cans, no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, sure. Tads, my cousin, never could get used to putting the cans out. Backyard was full of them before his wife reminded him to put them out.
Yeah.
Garbage kind of piled up, too. They wouldn't pick it up with the tin cans in it.
Yeah. You want to check these here? I'll get
all
this
right.
bunch here.
Okay. Don't see any paint cans.
No, none here either.
How about those down there?
Okay.
Let's go.
I'll get this box.
I wonder if this is any good.
What's that?
Prune juice. See a lot of empty bottles.
Any paint cans?
No. That's so.
That's the way it went, block after block, house after house. We covered 5 blocks, checking the containers full of empty tin cans. Found a few paint cans, none of them the right color, or any combinations that would go together to make the right color. It was a tiring job, but we figured it was at least a place to start.
Sure a lot of cans here. There must be a new bride, huh?
I don't know. Did you find anything?
No, not sure.
How about this?
Huh?
This one.
1 gallon can. Green.
Let's ask.
Yes?
Police officers, ma'am. This empty paint can belong to you?
You can have it if you want. We threw it out.
Do you have any children here, ma'am?
Yes, a boy.
How old is he?
1 year.
Would you mind telling us what this paint was used for?
We just moved here. Is there any law about throwing out paint cans?
Oh, no, ma'am. We're investigating the case. Just like to know what the paint was used for.
Did old man Boone send you over?
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Boone, the man we rented this house from?
No, ma'am.
I thought maybe it was him. He said we couldn't do any painting inside.
We don't know anything about that.
You sure? I don't trust him.
No, ma'am. You say the paint was used to redecorate?
Yes, come in, I'll show you.
Oh, thank you.
In here. See?
Yeah.
Carlos did. My husband. I told him he should have waited till Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to paint the bathtub?
Carlos. He's going to night school learning English. The teacher told him the best way to learn was to speak it around the house.
Yes.
It's better for the little one, too. Well, anyway, Carlos gets paid on Saturday night. Then he stops at the little place where the fellas he works with and has a little drink. He gets his paycheck cash there.
Mm-hmm.
When he came home, he said he was going to paint the bathroom for me. This is well a little good. I was in the kitchen and I yelled to him to paint around the top. Around the top, I said.
Yeah.
Like I said, he doesn't know English too good yet. We have a green top.
I see. Well, thank you.
He's going to clean the tub next Saturday. We use the shower.
Painted that, too, didn't he? Well, thank you very much, ma'am. We're sorry to have disturbed you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm worried about next Saturday night.
Why is that?
There's no telling what he's going to do with that paint remover.
4:30 p.m. We were no closer to finding out who spread that paint around the attorney's office than when we started. We continued checking the neighborhood, but we found nothing. A few minutes before 5, we got a call to check back in with Inspector Bowling.
You do any good out there?
Nothing at all.
Well, we had a little action, a new one.
Yeah, what's that?
Came in about an hour ago. Somebody poured kerosene on 3 palm trees and set them on fire. 3 trees, 3 different blocks.
Yeah?
Kept the fire department busy. Tied up the traffic for several hours. I've sent additional juvenile cars out there to cover happened in the same general area as the paint job.
Any leads?
No. Anyone who would smear paint over an office might set a palm tree on fire. Same type of gag, malicious mischief.
Think there's a connection between the two?
Well, it's anybody's guess. Paint routine's a new one, so is the palm trees. They're both one-time only shots. Maybe the two connect somewhere along the line.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's got to stop. We can't even find a place to begin.
We've tried everything we know. Starting again tomorrow.
It isn't going to make that young lawyer feel any better. Yep. Who? You take him down to the detention room? He does, huh? All right, I'll see him. Yeah, right now. 16-year-old boy out there says he's got to see me.
Would you like to talk to him alone?
No, it's all right. You stay. Come in.
You're the chief?
My name's Bowling, Juvenile Bureau, yeah.
Could I talk to you alone?
Well, these officers work with me. Can you talk in front of them, son?
I guess so.
Well, come on over here. You want to sit down, son?
I'd rather stand if it's okay.
All right, what's on your mind?
I want to confess.
What do you want to confess, son?
I murdered somebody.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here's Nurse Shirley Gelman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild, has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima, and that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
6 p.m. Monday, April 18th. The boy identified himself as Arnold Waterman, gave his age as 16. He told us that 2 days before at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue, he'd shot a man to death and hidden his body in the basement of a house. He was taken to the interrogation room where a police stenographer took his statement. Inspector Bowling sent Ben and I out to check his story. 9:30 p.m. We drove back to Georgia Street Juvenile and went to the interrogation room.
Arnold?
Yes, sir?
Well, these 2 men have been out at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue checking your story.
Did you find the body?
No, there's no body out there.
There should be. I put it in the cellar.
There's no house out there. It's a vacant lot. We checked all the houses near there. You sure you killed somebody?
Of course I'm sure. I stole a gun. I shot him 3 times in the back.
What'd you do with the gun?
I threw it in Westlake Park.
Where?
In the water. I rented a boat and rowed out to the middle. That's where I threw it in.
Why did you kill the man?
I don't know. I didn't like him.
Now, look, boy, you didn't kill anybody. There's nothing to back up your story. There's not an ounce of truth in it.
How do you know you haven't found the body? Just wait. You'll find him, then you'll see. I killed him, all right.
Will you show us where you hid the body?
Why should I? I told you can find it.
These men have gone over that entire area thoroughly. There's nobody out there, and you know it.
You cops are funny. When somebody won't admit a murder, you keep asking questions until they do. I'm telling you I murdered somebody, and you keep trying to talk me out of it.
If we can find one shred of proof, we might go along with you. You can't be convicted without proof.
How much do you need? You got my confession. I offered to sign it. They wouldn't let me. What more do you need?
We need a victim, Arnold.
If you knew where to look, you could find it.
We've looked every place you told us to. You're lying to us, huh? So why?
I never liked the old man. I hated his wife. I killed her, too. I wasn't going to tell you that.
Where do you go to school?
Well, I quit school to sell papers. I had to support my mother.
Where's your father?
I don't know. My mother wouldn't tell me. That's where I met the old man I killed, selling papers. He was my boss. None of us liked him. Nobody had the nerve to do it but me. The rest of the guys were scared, but not me.
What was the old man's name?
I can't think of it right now.
He was your boss.
He never told us his name. We just worked for him.
Where'd you sell papers?
I don't remember. I had to sell papers. We were going hungry. I couldn't stand to see my mother starve.
Didn't your father work?
I don't know where he is. I told you that. We tried to get on relief. They wouldn't let us. I made a lot of money selling papers. After a while, we didn't need relief anymore. I made $100 a week.
Why are you lying to us, son?
If you think I'm lying, why don't you let me go home?
We haven't anything to hold you for. You can go home.
Not until I have a trial. I already called a lawyer. He'll be over pretty soon.
I've sent for your mother, Arnold. She'll come down and take you home.
I didn't want her to know anything about this. I may have to go to the gas chamber. It'd make her feel bad. You shouldn't have called her.
It's no use.
Let's go back to the office. His mother ought to be there by now.
All right.
Romero, you want to stay with the boy?
Right.
You better go out and find that body.
Come on, Joe.
I killed that old man. You can't say I didn't.
The boy's a pathological liar.
Well, it looks that way. Probably an inferiority complex.
And this is the way of making himself important.
Well, we all know he didn't kill anybody, but I wonder if he's got something else in his mind, huh?
How do you do? You're Mrs. Waterman?
Yes. Inspector Bowling?
Yes, ma'am. This is Sergeant Friday.
How do you do, ma'am?
How do you do? I have to excuse my appearance. I slept a little late today.
We've got your boy down the hall. He's all right. Trying to get us to swallow a few tall stories.
Yeah, he's like that. What did he tell you?
He tried to give us a story about killing somebody.
Well, I'm not surprised. This isn't the first time. I'll never understand that kid.
Has your boy ever been in an institution, Mrs. Waterman?
No, he's not bad. He just likes to lie all the time. He's an awful liar. Went to his high school principal the other day, told him his father and I beat him. We wouldn't give him any lunch money.
Where is your husband?
He has a newspaper concession on one of the railroad trains.
How often is he home?
Once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. It's the only business he knows.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe that's the reason the kid's the way he is. My mom always used to tell me a kid needs his father. So whenever my hubby's home, he always does the right thing. Arnold started telling me these lies a long time ago, and ever since when his father found out, he catches it.
What do you mean?
Good strapping. That's all a kid like him understands. His father knows how to handle him. Whenever he lies, he takes the strap to him.
You think that's the best way to handle it?
Don't you?
Well, you know what you're doing, Mrs. Waterman. He's your son. But if you wouldn't mind a little advice, do you mind my telling you?
No, not at all.
Well, that boy needs care, and he needs it bad. The strap's not the answer. He needs attention, good supervision, and a lot of companionship. I'm not conducting a class in child psychology, but care for that boy of yours. Care for him before the state has to.
It's just those stories he hears. That's what's wrong with him. Came home the other night with the wildest tale I ever heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Said he threw green paint all over somebody's office.
Ben and I drove out to the Waterman home. We checked through the boy's belongings. His mother showed us his room. In his closet, we found a pair of corduroy trousers, a white T-shirt, and other articles of his clothing spattered with the same shade of green paint that had been found in the office and furnishings of Attorney Paul Wilson. We asked Ms. Waterman where her son Arnold was on Sunday night, April 9th, the night that the office had been broken into and smeared with paint. She told us she didn't know, but that he came home that night with paint on his clothing. Ben and I went back to the office where we filed an application for a petition and detention, Section 700, sub M, WIC, malicious mischief, 1 count. 2 days later, in juvenile court, the calendar was called. Arnold Waterman's name was first on the list. The judge, the subject, and all those concerned in the case retired to the judge's private chambers. Ben and I, Arnold Waterman, and his mother. The subject was informed of his constitutional rights, and Judge Frank J. Smith read the findings of our investigation.
Arnold, it alleges in this petition that on April 9th at approximately 8:30 p.m., you entered the office of Attorney Paul Wilson at 9218 West 103rd Street, where you willfully and without Mr. Wilson's permission did maliciously damage his office to the extent of approximately $1,800 by pouring paint over his rugs, furniture, books, and other articles in his offices. Is this true, Arnold?
Yes, sir.
Did you know Mr. Wilson?
No.
Arnold, I'd like to know why you did that.
I felt like it.
You'll have to give me a better answer than that, youngster.
That's the best I can do. That's good enough, isn't it?
No, it isn't good enough. We have a courtroom full of boys outside who probably want to be helped, and we're going to try to help them. We can't help you unless you want to be helped.
You don't want to help me. You don't believe anything I tell you.
Officer Friday.
Yes, Your Honor.
You and Officer Romano investigated this case from its inception.
We did.
As a result of your investigation, what's your opinion of this boy's truthfulness?
Well, Your Honor, I think I can speak for Officer Romero here as well. In all our talks with the boy and our observations of him, it's our opinion, for what it's worth, that the boy's a pathological liar. Basically, he seems to have the makings of a good youngster. His environment's bad. Seems to have very little, if any, parental guidance. Tells lies, Your Honor. Lots of them.
That seems to be everyone's opinion.
It's not mine. If you'd spend more time trying to find out if I'm lying instead of trying to put me on the spot, you'd earn your money.
Your stories have been thoroughly investigated and double-checked by competent police officers. There is absolutely no basis of truth in anything you've said.
I'm getting sick and tired of everybody calling me a liar. Do you hear me?
Young man, sit down in that chair. We review a great many juvenile cases here in my private chambers, but that does not alter the fact that you are in a court of law. You will lower your voice, speak in a gentlemanly fashion, and tell the truth. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Waterman, could you give this court any reason for your son's behavior?
It's a mystery to me, Judge. Fred, that's his father. He can't understand it either. He's always lied. His father beats him for it. I guess he'll always lie.
That's all you can say on your son's behalf?
What else is there to say? He's a liar.
Arnold, I'm going to ask you once more. Why did you smear paint all over Attorney Paul Wilson's office?
I didn't like him.
Why didn't you like him?
I didn't like him, that's all. Tall, skinny, funny-looking guy.
You mean you destroyed his property because you didn't like his looks?
Something like that. He was cheap. I saw him moving in. He had a trailer. He was moving his own stuff in. Why didn't he hire a mover like everybody else? I don't like cheap people.
Do you know anything about this man, Wilson?
No. Why?
What business was it of yours, whether or not Mr. Wilson decided to move his own furniture? Do you know that he's a young man, not much older than you, just graduated from law school, took a lot of time, took a lot of his money that he earned to put himself through school, and you sit there, a mere sketch of a boy passing judgment on a fine young man like Paul isn't. And, boy, let me tell you something. I don't know if you're a God-fearing lad or not, but you'd better fall on your knees and ask forgiveness and hope that somebody hears you, that he hasn't lost patience with you. You better raise up those sights of yours, lad, and pray for forgiveness. I hope those tears mean something. Now, do you have anything to say before I pass judgment on this case?
Yes, sir, I have. I'd like to tell you about something else I did. There were some palm trees out there. I put kerosene on them and set them on fire.
Oh, Friday. Would you know anything about this?
Yes, Your Honor. That checks with the reports.
Any property damage?
No, Your Honor. Kept the fire department pretty busy. That's about all.
I didn't kill anybody. I just made that up.
Yes, we know, Arnold. Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Waterman?
No. I don't know what else you can do with a kid. I'm glad it's somebody else's problem.
According to the findings of the probationary officers and the investigating officers and what I've heard and observed in these chambers, I have no alternative but to remove this boy from his present home and environment and place him in a foster home where he will receive closer supervision and the care that he requires. Does that meet with your approval, Mrs. Waterman?
It's fine with me, Judge. Fred and I can hardly make ends meet now, and it's a shame to waste what money we have on this kid. It's all I can do to squeeze out the new clothes I need.
Then you approve this plan?
I can't wait to tell Fred.
Well, when you tell Fred, you can also tell him the taxpayers are not going to assume the burden of the mistakes that you and your husband lavished on this boy.
What do you mean, Judge?
The expense of placing the boy in this foster home comes to the amount of $35 a month. You and your husband will pay this sum. The law covers that.
It's an awful lot of money.
The payment will be due on the first day of each month. You will meet this requirement or be held in contempt of court. I'm only sorry that's as far as the law goes.
The laws of the state of California do not make the parents responsible for the thoughts of their children unless contributory negligence can be proven. In my eyes, it is contributory negligence on your part, but unfortunately, it cannot be proven. Any faults that this boy may have are yours. You as a parent are responsible.
We did the best we could in raising the kid.
Madam, you didn't raise him. Hearing dismissed.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 18th, the hearing was held in the private chambers of Judge Frank J. Smith, Juvenile Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. You have just heard the results of that hearing.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in the process of apprehending criminals devotes his full time and energy to the job. His alertness, intelligence, and a great amount of patience. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima cigarettes employ these same qualities in blending the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, then buy Fatima. You'll find, as I have, that every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Now hear Sarah's Private Caper. September 7th, it's Father Knows Best on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You answer an early morning call. A police officer on patrol duty disappears. Any attempt to contact him by car radio fails. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
was Monday, June 4th. It was sultry in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. It was 6:45 a.m. when we got to the Imperial Highway. San Pedro cut off.
All right. Friday and Romero?
Yeah, that's right.
Pete Sutton, Sheriff's Department.
How are you?
Hello.
We got here as soon as we could.
Inspector Bowers fill you in?
Yeah, Ed Backstrand, Central Homicide, told us to check with Bowers at the sheriff's office. And Bowers directed us to come out here and lend you a hand.
This thing happens so close to the county line, they figure both departments ought to go to work on it.
Sure, glad to have you. Looks like a tough one.
Is this the highway patrol car the missing officer was assigned to?
Yeah. This is just the way we found it. We turned off the ignition. Motor was running, lights were on. It's been idling quite a while. The temperature was up pretty high.
When'd you find it this way?
45 minutes ago. Missing patrolman's name is Eugene Brewer. State Highway Patrol called the Sheriff's Department a little before 6 a.m. Told us the missing officer wasn't acknowledging his radio call. I talked to Mark Benson.
Is the radio all right?
We checked it. In fact, it was operating normal when we found the car. Mike was out of the bracket, laying on the seat there.
Yeah. Any ideas?
No signs of struggle. No blood stain.
This asphalt here.
No footprints anywhere. Nothing on the shoulder of the road.
You said the car was running?
That's right.
That eliminates any engine trouble.
Yeah. No, there's more to it than that. Gotta be.
Nobody has any idea why or when he left his car.
You've got it all. You know as much as we do.
What was the check on Brewer?
Mark Benson says he's one of their top men. Been with Highway Patrol for 8 years. Good record all the way.
Have you talked to anybody around here?
Pretty remote spot out here. A lot of truck gardens, that's about all. My partner, Dave Terry, turned up one man. Maybe he's got something. Let's send him over by our car. Hey, Dave, would you send him over here, please?
Who is the fellow?
One of the farmers. Works at truck garden out here. Name's Henry Taniguchi.
Lieutenant Sutton?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taniguchi, this is Sergeant Friday in Romero.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
I know you filled my partner in, but would you mind going over it again for us?
All right. I can tell you very little. You know, we start work early in the garden.
Yes, sir.
Conrad, a fellow I work with, Conrad Ishikawa, we started in the string beans about 5 o'clock this morning. Bean patch near Imperial Highway.
Yeah.
We noticed a headlight stop off the side of the road. This happened all the time along the highway, but this stayed very long.
Mm-hmm. About what time did you notice this, Mr. Taniguchi?
Must have been 10 minutes past 5. I remember asked Charlie Fujikuni, our cultivator man, what time was.
I see. Did you see or hear anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, no, sir. We wait a while, and headlight do not move. Conrad and I decided maybe somebody was in trouble. This highway quite deserted early morning hour.
What'd you do then?
We walked up to see what was wrong. When we get close, we could see was state highway car, so we know everything all right.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the officer in the car?
Oh, no. Door was open on the other side. We thought maybe officer investigate something down in the brush.
Did you see him down there?
Oh, no. We just think he was check up something. So we go back to work.
You saw nothing out of the ordinary, nothing unusual?
No, we don't. We hear the radio play. We know everything okay.
That checks out. The radio was functioning when we got here.
Mm-hmm. You didn't notice any other cars around anywhere, did you?
Oh, no, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taniguchi. Here's my card. Appreciate it. If you think of anything else, please let us know.
Oh, yes, I will. What happened to officer in this car?
We don't know.
Oh, he's all right. Probably look for somebody.
Well, that makes us even. We're looking for him. Monday, June 4th, 8 a.m. According to our instructions, we headed back to the Hall of Justice to check in with Inspector Gordon Bowers and Captain Garner Brown of the Sheriff's Department. They were coordinating the search for the missing highway patrolman, Eugene Brewer. Inspector Ed Backstrand, Central Homicide, was helping out. To the peace officer, cooperation with all branches of the various law enforcement agencies is essential. Each man on the force knows the value of a coordinated effort. He knows that without the aid of the many divisions of law enforcing bodies in his city and county, the task of maintaining law and order would be a total failure. The local officer depends on the men in the federal, state, and county departments as they depend on him. Without this coordination, no one department could survive. 8:25 a.m. We met with Inspector Bowers and Ed Backstrand in the sheriff's office.
Nothing, huh? Nobody saw him.
If somebody did, we haven't found him, Inspector Bauer.
We both figured the only thing to do was to ask for cooperation of the newspapers. We got it.
Pretty good layout, huh?
There's stories in every morning edition in town. They're running a picture and full description of the missing patrolman.
Well, we talked to everybody we could find in the general area out there. We worked 2 hours at it. The spot where the patrol car was found is pretty remote. A couple of gas stations, some vegetable gardens.
We told you about the Taniguchi fella. Checked all his friends that worked with him. They couldn't add anything.
Maybe the newspapers will turn up something. I sent a special detail out there to fan out and search the entire area, 5 square miles.
Yeah, it'll take time. There's nothing else we can do.
No, there's nothing more we can do. There's nothing anybody can do until we can show them the patrol cars how to carry 2 men.
Nobody seems to be able to do anything about it.
Maybe they will now. Sending one officer out in a patrol car is like trying to run a trolley line with one man. How many cases can you remember in our department? Ed Dudman pulled the car over in Dogtown at 3 o'clock one morning.
I remember.
Driver turned out to be a guy with a record. Dudman couldn't know that. While he was making out the traffic ticket, the guy shot him down in the street. Dudman died before he could get help.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of griping in the detective division, but those men in the patrol cars and the motorcycle boys, they get the dirty end of the deal for sure.
You bet they do. When a detective is sent out on a job, he knows who he's after, what he looks like, what he can expect when he finds him. The boys in the patrol cars answer a call, a 390, a 415, a 507. Sure, we know what they're supposed to be, but how often do they turn out that way? Prowler, a peeping Tom? How many times do they have a gun in their pocket? How many cops do they kill every year?
We've all been through it. We know what it is.
Yeah, but how often do we think about it when we're griping on stakeouts? Let me tell you something. This goes for me as well as you. Let's not forget who the real cream of the force is, the backbone of any police department. Men on wheels.
No question there, Skipper.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make a speech, but when something like this happens, it gets to me. The riding on short odds as it is. There ought to be 2 men in every patrol car.
Well, we should have been somebody else with Brewer. The guy on the job just doesn't disappear without a trace.
It's just what he's done. We've checked everywhere, everything. Excuse me. Powers. Who? Yeah, send him right in. This might help. Truck driver by the name of Nat Wolf. Says he's got something for us. Come in. Mr. Wolf?
Yes, sir.
Come in. Mr. Wolf, Inspector Backstrand, Sergeant Friday, and Romero.
Hi.
How do you do?
I saw the story in this morning's Times. I don't know if what I got's worth anything, but I figured I'd better pass it along to you guys.
Something on the missing highway patrolman?
Well, I don't know. The reason I'm here, maybe it's just a coincidence, but I gave a fellow a hand earlier this morning out on the Imperial Highway, not far from where the paper here says the empty patrol car was found.
About what time was that, Mr. Wolf?
Oh, around 4:30 this morning.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah. I'm an independent trucker. I haul topsoil for different nurseries. Stuff out there on Imperial's good rich stuff. We dig it right out the side of the hill.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just loaded up and I was on my way back to town. This fellow flags me down. Said he'd had a flat, pulled out on the shoulder of the road to fix it. Said he didn't know it was sand. After he'd fixed the flat, he found out he stuck. He couldn't get his car.
You gave him a hand, huh?
No, not with the flat. He already had that fixed, but I towed him out.
I see.
That's how I became suspicious of this fellow.
How do you mean?
Well, I offered to get out, hook up the tow chain. He said, no, just stay in a cab. I figured if he could do it alone, it was all right with me. Well, I pulled him out. But here's the funny part.
Yes, sir?
The chain got a kink in it from the weight of the pull. It's no mean job to handle that alone, but he says, no, he'll do it himself. Seemed to me like he didn't want me to get a good look at him or his car. I could be wrong, but, well, that's the way it struck me.
Did you notice anything?
Yes, sir, I did. For one thing, I got a look at him when I threw on my backup lights and his car. That's a real funny one.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a fairly new car. I'd say no older than last year's model, Plymouth. Well, at the risk of sounding completely nuts, I'm going to tell you that car looked like it had just been painted.
There's nothing wrong in that, is there?
Well, there is if you're off on the side of the road that time of the morning throwing cheap black paint all over a fairly new car. If he's using a spray gun, I could understand part of it.
What's that?
It was his license plate. The front one. It was all painted over. You couldn't read any of the numbers.
Mm-hmm. What led you to believe he just finished painting his car?
Oh, his hands and arms and all over his clothes.
Oh, I see.
It's that kind of paint you put on the rag, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Was it worth bothering you guys about?
You bet it was, Mr. Wolf. I can't tell you just what it means now. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but certainly it's out of the ordinary and worth reporting to the police.
Well, I hope so.
I'd like to see you boys find that missing officer. Something's pretty rotten in Denmark about that one, huh?
Maybe we found a hole.
Maybe.
Friday, I'd like to have you and Romano help out in the next step.
What's that?
Throw up a roadblock.
10:30 a.m. Before we left the sheriff's office, the truck driver, Nat Wolf, gave Inspector Bowers a description of the man in the Plymouth sedan. Together with Lieutenant Pete Sutton and Dave Terry, we drove to the Imperial Highway. Nat Wolf showed us the spot beside the road where he towed the man. The area was checked, and sample scrapings of the black paint were taken. There was no chance of taking a tire impression because of the loose sand in the area. All physical evidence was taken back to the crime lab for analysis. Nat Wolf returned to the office to check through mug books for possible identification of the man he helped out. Meantime, a special detail of men continued to search the area where the missing patrolman had disappeared. 3 a.m. According to instructions, a roadblock was established at the spot where the abandoned patrol car had been found. Imperial Highway, San Pedro cutoff.
Police business.
Yes, sir.
Wonder if you could help us out.
Certainly.
You travel this highway every night, ma'am?
Yes, I do. I'm in the vegetable business.
Did you come this way last night about this time?
I run pretty much on schedule. Yes, I did.
Did you notice anything unusual along the highway?
I bet I know what this is about. That missing highway patrolman.
Yes, ma'am. We're stopping everybody to see if they can give us any information that might help us out.
Well, I wish I could, but I didn't see a thing. That poor fella. Do you think you'll find him?
We're trying awful hard.
Sorry, I can't help you. Can I go now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
How'd you do?
Nothing.
What time you got, Joe?
Almost 4.
Got a little more hot coffee in that jug. You want some?
It's fine with me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here we are. Cuts in the lid here. Ben, Joe?
Thanks, Lord.
Watch your fingers. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'll take this one. I'm going to put my coffee on the fender here. Don't knock it off, huh?
No worries.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute, fella.
Can you see my light?
I haven't even got a cigarette.
I mean my flashlight.
I got a cigarette lighter if that'll do you any good.
You've been drinking, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I never get drunk, but I've had a little drink.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to pull over to the side of the road.
Okay. What happened to my car? It's broke.
You better let me do it, huh? You want to slide over a little bit there?
I never pick up hitchhikers.
No, I'm just going to move your car off the side of the highway now.
Any trouble, Joe?
No. 502. We'll have to hold him a while.
Well, tell your friend to get in, too. It's a sedan.
We're not going far.
Where are we going?
Right here.
Is this the road to Pismo Beach?
No, sir, not this one.
Well, that dirty little Ernie, he lied again. He hates clams.
What's that?
I've been trying for 5 months to get to Pismo Beach for a bowl of clam chowder. I haven't made it yet.
All right, you just sit here a while and sober up, will you? I'm going to hold on to your keys. I'll give them back to you. You haven't got a bottle in the car, have you?
No, I never drink and drive. Alcohol and gasoline do not mix.
Yeah. You drive this road every night?
Every night. And he keeps telling me to take me to Pismo Beach. I love clams.
You just sit here and sober up.
Happy drunk?
Yeah, he's too drunk to drive.
Yeah, getting along towards daylight.
Where'd I put my coffee?
Oh, I put it over here, Joe. Afraid we knocked it off.
Oh, thanks.
This one's mine.
Hey.
You seem to come in bunches. You get 2 or 3, and then you wait for an hour.
You know, they don't use this highway much since they put through that alternate, you know.
Police business. Yes, sir? You travel this highway every night about this time?
Once in a while. I haven't been over this way in a week.
You didn't drive this way last night?
No, sir, I didn't. Anything the matter?
Routine check. Thank you very much. You can go on. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a hopeless job, doesn't it?
Business is picking up. Here comes another one.
Looks like one of your sheriff's cars, Pete.
Yeah. Reynolds, homicide.
Pete Sutton?
Yeah, Reynolds.
You can pack up. They found him.
Is he all right?
2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madsen. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight, a good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
5 a.m. Tuesday. The body of Highway Patrolman Eugene Brewer was found half buried in a shallow grave approximately 4.5 miles from the point where his car had been found standing on the highway. The scene was roped off, photographed, measurements were taken, and the area carefully gone over for any physical evidence. A few scattered residents were again checked and asked if they'd heard gunshots. Since the nearest dwelling to the place where the body was found was 2 miles, there was a possibility that they could have not heard the shots. No one could give us any further information. The coroner's autopsy showed that Patrolman Brewer had been shot 3 times in the chest, 1 bullet directly entering his heart. He'd also been shot twice through the base of the skull. 1 p.m. Wednesday.
I get it.
Homicide, Friday.
Pete Sutton, Joe.
Yeah.
Just had a call from our Hollywood substation. Woman reported her car stolen on Sunday night. Thought the guy was going to bring it back. That's why she didn't report it sooner.
What about it, Pete?
It's a Plymouth sedan, last year's model. Same type the truck driver told us about.
Sounds good.
We already have a broadcast out on it. We're putting out an APB now. You want to check and see if they got it on tonight's hot sheet?
Right. Anything on the guy who stole the car?
Boyfriend of the woman who owned it. He left her in a restaurant and got away with her car. You remember the description of the guy the truck driver helped out Monday morning?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that stole this woman's car, it's the same.
Yeah.
Still doesn't prove he had anything to do with it.
Doesn't prove he didn't. Together with Pete Sutton and Dave Terry from the sheriff's office, we drove out and interviewed the woman whose car had been stolen. She told us that the man who had taken her car had also been seen in the company of one of her girlfriends, a Miss Helen Farrell, who worked as a cashier at a Hollywood theater. The Farrell girl identified the man as Mike Lapino, and she gave us a snapshot of him. She also gave us his last known address. We had no actual tie-in between the theft of the woman's car and the murder of Patrolman Eugene Brewer, but the circumstantial evidence made it at least worth checking out. The only car known to have been in the vicinity the morning of the murder was the car the truck driver, Nat Wolf, had reported. The same make and model car had been stolen the night before the killing. The general descriptions of the man from 2 different people tallied closely. We figured before we'd pass this lead by, we'd check it out all the way. 4 p.m. Wednesday. We met with Inspector Bowers at the sheriff's office.
We checked this Lapino's apartment, found a shirt and a pair of pants. Black paint on both of them.
I sent for that truck driver, Nat Wolf, to identify this picture here. You find anything else you found?
Well, this address book, there's no local places in it. They're all Las Vegas, Nevada addresses.
That's it, huh?
Yeah. What'd you get from the record bureau on the guy?
The I Bureau pulled the package on him. There's his mama sheet.
Thank you. Mike Lapino. Spent some time at San Quentin. Armed robbery, grand theft auto, assault. Pretty good record.
We're still not positive he had anything to do with the Brewer killing, but he's had the training for it. Yeah? Send him right in. Nat Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, Mr. Wolf.
Thanks. A dirty shame about that boy. I read about it in the papers.
Yeah. Got a photograph we'd like you to look at, Mr. Wolf.
You bet. Yeah. That's the man.
You're sure?
Sure. No mistake. Hey, why do you suppose he was painting that car at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Maybe that's what that patrolman wanted to know.
We waited for an answer on the APB. 2 days passed. Saturday, June 9th. We received a phone call from the Las Vegas, Nevada Police Department. The stolen black sedan had been found in the downtown area of Las Vegas. We requested them to put a stake out on the sedan and asked them not to disturb either the car or its contents. Together with Pete Sutton from the sheriff's office, Mark Benson from the Highway Patrol, and Ray Pinker of our crime lab, we flew to Las Vegas. Pinker checked the stolen car. Embedded in the rear seat were 2 spent bullets. There were also bloodstains on the seat and on the floor of the car. Pinker flew back to Los Angeles where the evidence was analyzed. The bullets found in the car were fired from the same gun as the bullets found in the body of the dead patrolman. Fingerprints lifted from the stolen car matched those of Mike Lupino. Saturday afternoon, we checked in with Chief Harry Miller, Las Vegas Police Department.
This is all you've got on him, huh, Chief?
That's most of it, yeah. Since we staked out that black sedan, I've had the town covered for Lupino.
No one saw him abandon that car, huh?
No one we know of, no. Had good cooperation from the newspapers. Story's been on page 1 since the thing broke.
Anything come of those names we got from Lupino's address book, the ones we phoned for you?
Let's see, I got the list right here. Yeah, here we are. These are the ones my men have checked out already. George Connolly, nothing there. Harry Carlson, he and his wife have been checked out, nothing there. William Spencer, nothing at his place. We've got them all staked out.
At least 2 to go, huh?
That's right. We're checking the last 2 now.
Nothing from the railroad stations, the airlines?
They've been covered ever since we got your phone call. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think your man's still here in town.
Any reports on him?
A couple of wild ones, nothing definite. Checked them out. Had one this morning from a dealer at one of the clubs downtown. About 10:30 this morning, he saw Lupino playing the 2-bit slot machine. We showed him his mugshot. He swears it's the guy.
Well, all we can do now is sweat it out, huh?
My men have covered everything. I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sure. Chief Miller. Yeah? You sure it's in? No, don't try to handle it alone. Keep the place covered the best you can. We'll be right out. They found him.
2 Las Vegas detectives named Billings and Vance answered a phone tip from a groceryman in the east end of town. He said a man had been buying groceries from him for the past 2 days and lived in the apartment house above the store. The 2 detectives showed the groceryman Lupino's mugshot. He gave a positive identification. They then checked with the apartment house manager. After looking at the mugshot, he identified Lupino as the tenant in apartment 10B. Detectives Billings and Vance staked out the place until our arrival with enough men to cover the area.
Vance?
Yeah, Chief.
What's the story?
He's in there. Hasn't been out all day. Apartment 10B.
We'll take the front, Chief.
Manager thinks Lupino has a gun. Maid was cleaning the apartment, found some loose slugs in the dresser drawer.
You still want it, Friday?
Oh, it's our headache.
Joe and I will go in, Chief.
Right. Vance gets the men up on the roof to cover.
We've already fanned them out around the building.
I don't know what they tell you in L.A. on one of these things, but here we tell them to be careful.
Right, Chief. Joe?
Let's go. On the second floor.
Let's take the stairs here.
All right. It's a long way up, isn't it?
Yeah. This way.
Here we are. You cover, huh?
Yeah. Right through the door.
Yeah, he's got 2 left.
Well, so he's got another gun.
Well, let's take him. One good kick ought to get the lock.
Right.
Just a minute. Let's go, Pete.
I got it!
What's that gun, will you?
Drop it!
Let it alone, Lupino.
I got it.
All right, come on, get up. You all right, Pete?
Okay. I get the cut. What's the big idea?
You tell us. You killed that patrolman.
He got tough. You didn't have to kill him. Spotted the stolen car. What else could I do? Come on, you. He had as much chance as I did.
That figures.
Yeah.
2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names and locations were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective knows that every member of his local police department is a qualified man. He knows that his fellow peace officers have been carefully selected to perform their specific duties by trial, by examination, and by results. And so, with a cigarette, the makers of Fatima carefully select and blend only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Fatima.
Michael Everett Lupino was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to recommend the death penalty. Lupino is now serving his life term in the state penitentiary.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Police Department requests the cooperation of all Dragnet listeners in the following police matter. The Los Angeles Police Department would like every and any information regarding a gun fitting the following description. .38 caliber special Smith & Wesson revolver, gold seal model. The gun has a blue steel 4-inch barrel. The serial number is 210088. 210088. If you have any information as to the past or present whereabouts of this gun, contact W.H. Parker, Chief of Police, Los Angeles, California. This is a very important matter. All information furnished will be held in strictest confidence. Thank you.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. 3 times mean good times on NBC.